Hey everyone, just real quick here at the top of the show, I wanted to let everybody know we're starting a new clips channel. Should be a link showing up top here somewhere. It's to try and find an audience that's looking for shorter content. So if you're here, you probably like the longer stuff. But if you could help us out with a sub, some likes, comment or two, might help the channel gain some initial traction. So if you can help us out, please do. And if you didn't know, live episodes are at twitch.tv/blazeandbob, usually Friday and Saturday nights. Take it easy. Welcome to Warcraft Reloaded, a podcast brought to you by Mash Those Buttons, covering World of Warcraft Classic and its community. I am Bobby, also known as Blazin' Bob, and I'm joined by Mel, aka Melarina. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. Friday.
Friday.
Now that we do podcasts on Saturdays and Sundays, I feel like Friday kind of sucks. I'm like half in work mode still, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it could go either way, though, because sometimes we'll do Saturdays like midday, and I always feel like I just woke up. I'm a little groggy. So I'm not sure which one is better. But we're also joined by returning guest Kasemo. If you don't remember Kasemo, he was on the show with Snowmy a while back talking all about PvP and TBC. Welcome back, Cass. How you doing?
Thanks, Bob. Doing really good. Good Friday so far, so yeah.
Good deal. And first time on the show, YouTuber and the man with the straight face memes for days. It is Zatar. How you doing?
Doing great.
Yeah, I just say that because you throw jokes in a lot in your videos, and you just keep a straight face the entire time.
Yeah, I don't like to say just kidding or anything like that. I let it go.
Overplayed.
Listen, if you have to explain the joke, it's not really that funny, right?
Yeah,
like people
exactly.
laugh.
Dude, the best was the one about getting prepared for wrath, and you start out kind of normal, and then it just keeps getting crazier and crazier. You're like, and then I mean, I am going to give a kidney, and I mean, I think that's pretty much par for the course and what everybody should do. And I mean, just straight face the whole time.
Now, if you didn't know, I actually had kidney surgery like at that time. Now it wasn't it wasn't for wrath, but
It was
if anyone. It all tracks.
Wow.
So some people that are like more in the know were like, wait, he actually got surgery on his, did he donate a kidney? Like, yeah. So, or sell it.
Wow.
If you know, it's kind of thing.
Yeah. So little detail there.
Rumor mills start going.
All right. Well, here at the top of the show, we need to do a little bit of housekeeping, but I'll tell you what you're in store for. We're going to start off by going over, we finally got another iTunes review. The drought seems to be over, but we just got one, so we still need more. So keep sending them in. Then we're going to do one email. Then we're going to go over what we've been doing in WoW lately, maybe a little raid progress. Then we're going to go over the news. And then we're going to end out like we do every time we have a new guest, and we're going to get to know Zatar. It's going to be a blast, so hang out for that. I'd like to remind everybody at the top of the show that we do stream live on twitch.tv/blazinbob. That's BLAZZINBOB. We also have a new Patreon. It's just if you search Warcraft Reloaded on Patreon, you will find it. We're probably going to change it at the end of the month. It turns out I've gotten a lot of messages from people that are kind of scared off by the by episode model. And that's just the one I had done before, so I didn't know, but I'm going to change it. But Patreon makes it kind of hard to change mid-month. So we'll give you more info on that when we do it. But I still do want to thank our one tank Patreon, and that is Ryan McNerney. Thank you so much. Also, we had some people reach out scared that we would read their real name. If you don't want your name read, you don't have to have it read. And if you want an alias read, we could do that too. I reach out to the new patrons at each time, so you don't have to have your actual name read out. Just a heads up.
He says each time. He's done it once. Let's be honest, people. But he'd like to do it more.
Oh, and then the next piece I'm kind of excited about and kind of terrified about all at the same time, but we have a new Warcraft Reloaded hotline. Now, at most, a ton of people, probably the majority that listen to the show, do it while on the go or at work or jogging or doing yard work, and you don't have time to look up the email address and send us something, type it all out. But you could just call 816-866-1066 and leave us a voicemail. And if it's good or funny or insightful, or maybe even just mean, it just depends. If it's mean and funny, like, we might play it on the show and react to it. So definitely call in. And if you
send one mean about Bob, make sure to send me a message and let me know so that I can make sure he doesn't, stealthy delete it over there. Like, hey, we didn't get any voicemails this week. Really, Bob? Really?
Yeah, so it's just some fun. I thought we would try out. It's 816-866-1066. Call in, tell us how wrong we are, tell us what minor detail we got wrong or major detail. We do get both of them wrong quite often. So yeah, we look forward to hearing from you, and I think it's going to be kind of a neat new thing. All right.
It's a lot of sixes.
I was trying to make it just easy,
Okay.
816-866. No, you can't sing it.
No.
You can make a song out of it eventually, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. All right.
You have to work on it.
All right. So we did
You should have made it Warcraft. But you know what's funny is how they used to do that, right? Like, it used to be really easy, but on cell phones, I don't know. Oh, it still is. Yeah, you can still see the. Nope. Oh yeah, you can still see the letters. Like, what if you made it?
It's starting to get outdated though.
Warcraft.
Most people don't.
Well, the problem is that like I have a limited number of numbers I can choose from.
Okay.
But I mean,
I'm just saying you could have gotten more creative.
That would be cool. I mean, I'll let you set up the next number when people post this everywhere and we get tons of spam. Yeah, that's
changing our number.
Yeah, I mean, and just like heads up, guys, I can change the number at any time. So if you want to troll it, you can, but I can change it every week if I want to. So, all right, guys, we got one new review. It's from Salvia. Says it's a 5-star from iTunes. It says, amazing podcast for classic WoW. What more can I say? This is a great podcast for anyone who is into classic. Not only those that play a ton, but for the casual player too. Bob and Mel are excellent hosts, and the passion for the game and the podcast always shows in the episodes. Listening makes me feel like I'm part of all their escapades, which is great for a more casual player like me. The guests that are on add to the entertaining mix of info, banter, and tangents. I love hearing all the perspectives from the different members of the WoW community that they bring on. Thanks for all the hard work and restoring my excitement in the game. Oh, here.
For the Alliance.
Alla? See, this is the worst. I should practice these names before. Alacian from Grobulus. Oh, from the last bastion of world PvP. Grobulus, shout out. Thank you so much for your review.
I feel like everybody from Grobulus just writes in just to rub it in to Bob that we didn't get to go to Grobulus.
Yeah, seems about what it's like now.
Well, they hate that they can't still rub it into Yip, but when Yip was on, the last time, he was like still angry about it. He was like, "Yeah, well, it's not going to last."
I mean, we all were saying it. I still don't believe it.
Yeah, I mean, it's eventually going to go away, I feel like, just because there's got to be like Alliance or Horde, unless they lock it right now, right? Like Alliance or Horde are going to be like, ooh, I want to go over there because they still have PvP going on, and all of a sudden one faction.
Well, Firemaw, right, was the second.
Firemaw they locked,
and
yeah,
Firemaw's down now. So, well, not down.
All it takes is like
it's not balanced.
Couple weeks of just faction balance, and it just downhill.
It can go really fast. Yeah, I mean, although our guild Varg was one of the most tenacious on white mane. We were the third to last guild to actually finally give up and move off. So I'm proud of that. Proud of that. We stayed strong. We ran back 4 times to get into each raid. Was
a whole bunch of little warlock alts trying to make things easier. Yeah.
Yep. All right, Mel, do you want to read the email we got? Mel, are you muted?
My sound's not working, so I can't hear you guys at all. I'm trying to.
Oh. Well, here we'll just wait for a second and pause. Sorry, guys. Live show, minor technical difficulties. Your sound was working?
Her mic sounded like it kind of just roboted for a second, and then.
Let me check on it real quick.
I'm trying to fix it. It just it says they're connected, but they're not. Yeah. I will
take over the show.
Yeah. It's a Zatar show now.
Okay.
Well, what can you do?
Give me 2 seconds. Let me try to fix it. I already did my hair. I don't want to put it on my head. But I don't do.
Yeah, I think she just doesn't want to put on her headphones because then she'd have to show that she has the pink cat ears ones.
Oh.
Yeah, we can hear her, but I guess she can't hear us.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's working on it though. I'm gonna mark this down so I can cut this out for the actual show. I guess I could read the next one, which would probably make it go by a little bit better. Then she won't be able to react. Is the problem. Sorry, chat.
I'm good. I'm back.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there you go.
All right. Mel, would you like to read the next email?
Yes, I'd love to. I think it was somebody that mentioned Raiders in the Twitch chat that made my headphones turn off, right? It was just like, no.
Yeah.
Can't talk about the Raiders. Okay. Hey, Bob and Mel. I found you guys towards the end of Original Classic and haven't missed an episode since. I recommended the pod to anyone I come across in the WoW community. I've always enjoyed the parallels between our classic experiences with Varg typically a week or 2 ahead of us through TBC. Your stalls and victories on bosses gave me hope when we were also stuck on bosses. That's good. I'm glad they gave somebody hope. The week before Sunwell dropped, my longtime guild fell apart. Rip Aftermath. I bounced around a couple guilds before finding a home with Mojo. I found nothing builds rapport with the new guild like progressing through Sunwell. That'll do it. When I joined Mojo, was 2-6 and quickly moved to 4 out of 6 before running in, I thought he was saying like 2-6, like February 6th. So sorry. He was 2 out of 6 and quickly moved to 4 out of 6 before running into the immovable force that is Muru. After 69 pulls, we got Muru down last night. Nice. Just wanted to thank you for the great content and thank my guildies for keeping it fun and light while we overcame the toughest boss I've ever encountered in WoW. Thanks and keep it up. Barnzilla from Matiash.
For the Alliance!
He asked for a yip, so I had to give him yip.
Give
Give you one more time.
For the Alliance!
Thank you so much for...
Never gets old.
Yeah, it never gets old. Although I don't think Yip likes it when I do it in Raid.
Yip doesn't like a lot of things in Raid.
I know, he's so serious. Why so serious? Thank you so much. That is some tenacity. There's 69 polls, but I mean, you're getting it done. I had another person come into my chat last night and say they just got Muru down that last night too. So I think a lot of people are getting it.
We were just talking about it earlier too. Muru's the type of boss that I think once you understand it and get the mechanics, it takes a really long time to get there, but it becomes a lot easier. Whereas, sometimes you wipe a few times on Caligos because it's Monday,
The boss sucks.
Or Thursday.
Yeah, or Tuesday.
Yeah.
All right.
We didn't have the greatest Caligos yesterday. So.
No. We didn't have the greatest a lot of stuff until Twins or Muru, but we can talk about that in a second here. What's everybody been doing in WoW lately, whether it be beta or preparing for Wrath or just raiding or GDKPs? What's everybody been doing? Let's let our guests go first. Which one of you wants to go first?
I guess I can go first.
Go.
There you go.
Have at it.
Yeah. Let's see, doing some preparation for Wrath, I guess, too. I think yesterday I bought 4, I guess they call them profession kits, but they're for myself. But I just bought everything I need to get 4 professions to 375, to 2 NG, 1 jewel crafting, and 1 inscription. And then...
Nice. Doesn't that feel good when you have all the mats right there and you just like are ding, 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 ding? I've done it many times, but I just love it. Like I sit there for like just a couple hours and just go from 0 to max. It just feels good.
Yeah, I'm about to, I guess I have everything ready, but like some are going to a death knight. So I need to actually like be able to play the character to get it all fully going, but should be able to experience that pretty soon. But yeah, doing that, playing the beta, testing some things, trying not to go too hard on the beta, because last TBC beta, I leveled all the way to 70 and hit 70 like 2 days before they gave you instant 70. It felt like an idiot. And so I'm not doing that this time. I'm just kind of testing everything. And then when they give us instant 80s, I'll test everything at 80 again. Yeah. Besides that, still doing Sunwell.
Really good idea.
Kind of pretty much it.
Nice. Yeah, I think I got to like 76 in the TBC beta, and then they brought out the 80s, and I was like, but I mean, it was kind of fun just to do the quests because
it's impressive that you got to 76 in TBC beta.
No,
I really exceeded our cap
66,
there. Yeah,
66. Okay, sorry. I'm in Wrath mode. But
it's a lot of us are. Yeah,
it's like, especially the beta. We're going to talk about later in news with the add-ons, but it's tough to play without add-ons, at least for me. But what have you been up to, Kasemo?
Okay, no. We need to talk about this because it's tough to play without add-ons. He's talking about Questie, and all Bob does is talk to chat while Mel reads the quest and tells him where to go.
I was watching that the other day.
Yeah,
this is true.
Come on. Don't tell me it's hard to beta without Questie. Come on.
Wait, well, I've played without you, and I'm like a lost, I'm like.
You're ridiculous.
Wander around for 10 minutes, still don't have a quest done. What's going on?
Somebody in his chat was like, "Is she reading the quest?" I'm like, "How the hell do you want me to get to know what I have to do?"
Yeah.
Come on.
Yep. Yeah.
It's
Okay.
not that hard, people. They're not like riddles. They literally just tell you what to do.
It's just time that I could be completing stuff if I had Questie. Like I need to like mark off.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm excited about Questie. I'm just saying it was 0 extra effort for you.
See, I'm a boomer. I didn't use Questie for Classic or TBC.
No shit. Wow.
Actually, yeah.
Dude, I'm an actual boomer.
I feel like that's
and
just inefficient.
I could do it for TBC, yeah. For Wrath, there's no way. I've been trying to, and it's, I'm almost where Bob's at with it. I'm like, but I haven't done anything in 10 minutes.
In my defense, I played Vanilla like just two weeks after like launch, like when it first came out, and I had add-ons within 2 weeks of like it was like 2 weeks, and I was like, "Oh, there's add-ons," because like in the beginning, you couldn't even have more than one bar without add-ons. You had to like click the little arrow to switch bars, and it wasn't till I don't know, like 2 months in that they came out with the actual extra bars that you could toggle on. Like, so I mean, I was using add-ons from the very, very beginning, but I mean, I was also, like 22 or whatever when it came out, so I wasn't like 12. I was just like looking up everything I could possibly do.
Funny story with the bar thing. There's apparently a setting where if you like do something, it'll like scroll your bars, right? Well, that setting is apparently set to my scroll wheel, which is also my circle of healing. And so lots of times, and it happens to be the bar that has like
controller shift wheel. Yeah, controller shift wheel or something like that.
Yeah, so shift scroll wheel up is like my higher rank circle of healing, right? So I just like moved all my bars and stuff to move my raid frames, and all of a sudden I was like, "Where's my mana pots? Like, what the heck?" I'm pretty sure I had to open my bag at one point and get a mana pot from my bag because it like disappeared, and then I was like, "Wait, why does this bar look the same as this bar?"
Real quick.
Oh my god! I had so angry.
I had something similar that would toggle my sound off, but I just went and unbound that, so it wouldn't
just
happen
go in
anymore.
and just unbind it completely. Yeah,
because like if I didn't let go of something quick enough before clicking something else, it would just mute, and I'd be like, "Shit, I can't hear shit now."
Yeah, or the like thing that takes all of your UI away so you can take a screenshot. I've done that like once or twice, and I'm like, what just happened? Where's
I like playing the game like that anyway. If it happens during a game, I'm like, yeah, whatever.
That's because you're not a healer.
Oh yeah, you're right. That would be terrifying.
It's slightly problematic when everybody's health bars go away.
Yeah.
All right, Kasemo, what have you been up to?
I mostly been playing beta. Trying not to burn out, kind of like he was saying, taking it slow, especially without the Questie thing. It's literally just been dungeon spam, and it's not that fun. You can only do a dungeon so many times and get 1 bar XP. It just kind of gets boring. But they do actually, was it yesterday or the day before, they got where you have WeakAuras now and you can have Questie. I logged in last night a little bit before raid with Questie.
Spoilers, man. Spoilers. That's in the news.
Yeah. I may or may not have. Let's leave it at that. But yeah, it was night and day. It's really fun.
Can
but I'm having a lot of fun with
your
beta.
settings from your add-ons? Because I feel like taking the time to like
I think you can.
Well,
you
not
can really just take it from your WTF folder and just copy it over to the beta folder, and it should work.
Well,
but I'm not exactly sure.
Let's talk about it in add-ons, because I have a couple other questions I'd like to pose at chat and everybody else too.
But yeah, just that, and then PvP, doing a little bit more arena. We got one of my friends recently leveled a mage, came back to the game. We've been playing little rogue mage, trying to get him back in the game pre-Wrath and whatnot. So we've got a lot of people excited for Wrath, trying to help out. So
well, and you've just recently started streaming too, right?
That too, yeah. I just figured it kind of comes with the territory of help, like doing arena and trying to be a little bit more competitive with it now. And then also having beta access. wanted to like kind of stream some of that stuff and then go over it later. So I figured, why not? You know,
Nice.
that way I can kind of look at it. And then,
you should stream your VOD reviews.
yeah, I could do that actually. Like, hey, I'm getting back in an arena. This is content. I'm trying to learn stuff myself, and this is how I'm analyzing it as somebody who used to be a lot better, but is trying to get back into the game. You know, so it's an interesting point. I can see a lot of people kind of being interested in. So you know, put it out there. People like it, then you know they do. If they don't, then you know
you were going to do it anyways.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So yeah.
Well, he's on a brand new account because he couldn't get his old account, so he needs the follows, guys. If you can go follow him, it's twitch.tv/KASEMOX. KASEMOX. So give him a
We won't ask about the old account.
It's just a night. I don't know if anyone's ever dealt with trying to get an account from Twitch. I don't know. They want your like social security card and everything. It's
my God.
Crazy. Yeah, it got really crazy.
Yeah.
All right, Mel, what have you been doing?
I feel like you ask me this every week, and I should be very prepared for this question, but I never remember. We did not raid on Tuesday, so that was a blank day. Oh, but shout out to the Third Faction podcast, because Bob and I did guest on that on Tuesday instead of raiding. Kind of worked out. And then we raided.
I don't think that's out. I don't think our episode's out yet, but it should be out, I think, within the next few days.
Yeah, Bob was all like, hey, this is great. I just get to show up and talk. And I was like, that's what I do anyways. So kind of the same for me with just new people.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, I raided on Thursday, and I don't think we've done much. We did a little bit more questing, I think, since last week in Wrath Beta.
We did over the weekend, yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, I had a lot of, like, my best friend is having a baby, and it was her other daughter's birthday on Saturday, and then she had a baby shower on Sunday, and I was like, come on, you can't take up my whole weekend. One friend. But that was pretty much it.
All right, well, I've been doing all kinds of crap. I've been doing GDKPs on my warrior, trying to accumulate more tank gear to move my warrior into our plan for leveling in Wrath, which I did get for like initially from Zatar from his video on warriors, which they are freaking insane. Like even with the small gear I had, I moved him over and I wasn't able to do the whole don't take any damage, but I was able to solo two of the guys at a time in Utgard Keep, and then when Mel came along, I was able to do 3 or 4. And
again,
okay, stop with your okays. This show's going to be like 4 hours long.
It will not. But I need to correct you, because he goes in and he's like, hey, Mel, I could take these packs individually by myself.
You told us last week, though.
Okay, this was the previous week, so why are you telling the story again? I can't keep my week straight. You've got to, like, remind me.
Oh, I was
he pulls like 82 packs.
I was just going over why I'm trying to get tank gear in GDKPs at the moment on my Fury Warrior.
All right.
But
I'll let it slide.
A lot of people are doing that. Even in SRs, I feel like most DPS warriors, they're just randomly, you're going to a BT SR run, and every DPS warrior is like randomly on Bulwark now.
Yep.
And it's and then the tanks are like, hey, I'm gonna leave. I don't want all my gear SR'd by warriors. And you're like, could you kindly not SR that, please? Spend an hour looking for a fire resist tank, and he's going to leave. But
right.
Yep.
That's how I'm going with my paladin. Like, I'm trying to get tank gear as a holy paladin. They're like, what? No, go away.
I haven't tried the SRs ones because I figured GDKPs, they want me because I'm buying both, Fury and tank stuff. So they're like, ooh, we like this guy. But yeah, I've been just PvPing, also just here and there. Been working up fishing and cooking on my guys, which is excruciating, to say the least. But I know it'll be easier. I probably should wait till pre-patch, but I'm just trying to knock knock stuff out. And if I can't get into a GDKP at the time, I'm kind of just fishing or doing stuff like that. But yeah, that's basically all that I've been doing. I've been on the beta here and there, but plan to get on the beta right after this show. So, but yeah, that's all I've been doing. What about raid progress? Zatar, what are your raids like? Like, because do you raid with more than one guild? I can't remember.
I only raid with one guild, and I run the guild. So
there you go.
And you're a prot warrior. Whoop whoop.
I am for now.
For now.
In Wrath, I will be more than just a prot warrior. Probably play a few tanks, but
yeah,
nice. Yeah, I'm loving it because you on a weekly basis show that prop warrior is still viable, and everybody talks so much shit on him, and I'm just like, dude, it's just harder. Like,
sometimes I just die, and then they say, I knew it.
Do you blame your healers?
I gotta explain. It is their fault. It's not my fault.
Oh yeah, of course.
All right.
It's never ever been a tank's fault ever.
Hey, sometimes it is.
No one's proven it,
but not this week.
No, it's always Yip's fault.
Yeah, I just love how you and Zyrene is another one that just makes it work at a top end level. And I loved your video on, like they are good. They're just a pain in the ass. You have to have so many different gear sets. You have to hit so many different buttons, like extra buttons that the bears just to swipe. Like. I just think it's cool when people do stuff like that. So,
yeah.
What you guys are 6 of 6, right?
Yeah. So I think we killed Jaden 1 week before your guild. I think so. Kind of similar timing. Our guild is not like super. It's not a hardcore guild. So
kind of sweaty casual like us.
We're kind of like, some people in the guild are really good and care too much. And then other people in the guild don't care and they're kind of chill. So it's kind of a mix. It's kind of how it always is.
It's basically how I was
25 minutes.
Yeah. But we've got some really good players still, even though we're not coming right out the gates. But I honestly think we did really well. And I think a lot of guilds shouldn't feel too bad about their progress if they didn't PTR and stuff, because
exactly.
There's some PTR guilds that they played the PTR like 15 hours before they kill the boss. And then of course they kill it day 1. But I mean,
yep.
Right.
They progress like 3-4 days a week. They
just did their progression in PTR and not in live. Yeah.
Yep. So, and since they don't like log, they don't public log or
stream.
Yeah, stream. Like most of them don't public log or stream. You can't even see. But I mean, like we've had people on like Salve Dally, and they're like, yeah, it took a ton of time, so
yeah.
I think everybody feels bad and they shouldn't because of PTR. We go over that quite a bit, but when you look at it on the surface, like you think, oh man, we suck. But in all reality, you just don't put in a fraction of the time that they do.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
I can go over our
progress if you go over ours. And you, Kasemo, feel free to jump in if you.
Nope, this is absolutely. Only healer perspective raid progress, okay?
Melee is so important.
Yeah.
No, we're not.
So we did not raid on Tuesday because we had too many people out, and we've been 190 it anyway, so we've been taking a night off. So we decided, hey, we'll just raid on Thursday when more of our people can be there. I say we, like I had anything involved in that, but the officers decided we're going to raid on Thursday. And so we get there on Thursday. I was slightly nervous, and then I realized I logged on a little early, but there was only like 10 people in the raid at like 8:30, which was like 30 minutes before raid time here. And I was like, oh God.
It gets really scary right before raid time because it's literally 5 people online and then it just everyone logs on.
Yeah. Yeah. So we go in and we have quite a few healers out. We usually have an excess of healers, but we only had 5. And so, and 2 of our resto shamans were missing, which was also a bummer. So we went in with 5, and I don't think everybody knew we only had 5. There was, the healers definitely knew we only had 5.
Including the raid leader?
Yeah,
I didn't know.
Yep, did not tell Hearthstar that we only have 5.
It was great. I'm like talking about it on stream all the way up to the boss, and then Hearthstar's like, "Wait, we're running with 5 healers?"
Yeah. He said that, and I just lit up. I was like, "Wait, what's going on? Like, what is this? One nighting on a Thursday, like our second raid day, and we have this many healers?"
Yep.
Oh.
Listen, so we went to Kalagos, and the first attempt wasn't bad. We got him to 76%. And Kalagos, come on, you guys. Everything is just up in the air with Kalagos. Somebody gets ported down. The wrong person gets ported down. We only have 1 resto shami, right? So it was just hot mess. I think we died at 76%. I think a healer got ported down when there was already 2 healers down there. So there was 3 healers down below and only 2 healers up top, or maybe 1 was dead. So it was not pretty. We tried it one more time, and that was even worse. It was 38%. We just something happened. Obviously, it was the tank's fault. And then they told the boomkin to go respec and go resto. Who Carpet was a resto before, and then he went boomkin.
Carp has been everything for us from the beginning. In the beginning with Kara,
he was our tank and Kara.
Yeah, he was one of the. Yeah, he was one of the tanks. So we ran 3 Karas a week, and then he became resto for us, and he switched to boomy for us. Yeah, he's been a real Swiss Army knife.
Yeah. So he very kindly went and switched, and then we downed Kalagos when he came back. Thank you, Carpet. I'm sure it was all you. And that was just the start of a wonderful night. So then we move on to Brutalis, which I remember wiping on Brutalis, but apparently we didn't wipe on Brutalis. I had thought we did. We did not. We killed Brutalis on the first shot, but I don't think it was pretty. I don't think it was pretty.
I think we did. I think we had 3 wipe.
No, we wiped.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, we had 3 attempts.
The logs show that we did not.
Oh, someone's messing with our logs. We need to figure that out. They're trying to make us look too good. We gotta fix that.
I swear.
We definitely, because I remember vanishing in a couple times.
Yeah.
I thought we wiped a few times on Brutalis, but
I thought we wiped twice.
I looked at both logs that were posted, and both of them say we did not wipe. Okay. So I don't know. But yeah, we'll just go with we didn't wipe.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like the night. But yeah, after that, we went to Felmist. Lovely Felmist. I feel like Felmist is the boss that gives us the most trouble for no reason. But I will say, Bob and I were lagging really bad. And I didn't realize the impact of lagging, except for the fact that, Oscar kept saying, if you're confused about where to go, stand on star. And I was like, I am on star. And then, I'd lag and, the green would be on me and I'd be mind controlled. And I was like, okay, I don't know what to do.
Well, you play priest, right?
Yeah.
So that's rough for the master spell too if you're lagging.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was. Well, I was like, master spell, and it was like, duh, duh. Okay,
so
then it was start casting. Oh, it was bad.
Well, on the first couple wipes, I didn't realize I was lagging. Stream could even see that I was lagging, because I have the thing at the top of the Titan thing at the top of the bar. But you kept dying from the encapsulated. I was like, Mel died again. What the hell is going on? She is off tonight.
No. The first time, yes, there was a little bit of lag, but it was also kind of my fault. I went the wrong way and then I went the other way. The second time, I was the one encapsulated. So I can't do anything about that. Somebody else has got to heal me.
Well, you could take a health potion
I did
or a
hear that I could take a health stone. But there is a problem if you've already used a dark rune, you can't take a hellstone. But I don't think that was the case that time. I'm just saying. But that time, yeah, I didn't take my hellstone. And yeah, but other than that, like, yeah, there was just a lot of like, and it wasn't so obvious lag, like I'm running in place lag that I'm like, hey, we need to restart or something.
Yeah, it was like 400 ms. That's what we were like at. But like, it finally became the last straw.
Stuff.
Like when I got caught by fog, I was like, okay, dude, I ran as fast as I could. We need to freaking restart. So we had to like tell them. Like
every time they said run to the right or run to the left, I was like, or north or south, I was like, I immediately started moving like I do every week. And I got caught by the fog like twice.
Well, we basically like had to like say, sorry, we'll be right back. I had to restart the router, restart stream and everything. And then it's like, boom, 18 ms down from 400. It was just like, why does that have to happen during raid?
Yeah, I was lagging too at the start of Felpmist from some of the first polls, and it was funny because Butters looked at me a WeakAura, and I was like, connection's fine. He's like, oh dude, there's that new WeakAura for Felpmist, and it looks super sketchy. But obviously that wasn't what was going on. It was just coincidental. But
maybe you're gonna see like the long-term effects of this WeakAura.
He was still on my internet during Felpmist, yeah.
Still on your internet.
Yeah, still on my internet.
So some in chat want to hear Zatar's take on Felpmist.
I love that boss. It's good. I've never called a wrong breath in my life. And, I love that boss. I think it's great design. And I like the way the dragon moves. And I would not recommend watching How to Tame a Dragon. It does not help learning the path patterns.
I was curious about that. I'm glad.
It does not work.
Oh man,
it's so annoying.
Yeah, our raid lead would agree with you completely on hating that part.
My favorite is when somebody else yells out a direction. Like I think Yip yelled out like north, and Oscar's like, no, wait.
I think the Yip was constantly going the opposite direction just to mess with
me. I know. Hilarious. But yeah, he stops and you think it's happening and then it doesn't. I don't know.
When we finally got the kill, we killed him. He went up for the third time.
Oh my god!
And we killed him in the air. But you have to finish. Yes.
Oh yeah.
But you have to finish the crowd phase before he drops. So that everybody's like, okay, at least one person survived this. And we've got it. We can move on to the next boss.
That call after wiping like a few times on him. Just somebody please survive. Just one of you.
And then I don't know if he was actually true, but at the very last breath, Yip runs the opposite way, and
I think I'm seeing.
And he's like quiet. He doesn't say anything, but then afterwards he's like, I was just hedging my bets, just in case you were wrong on the call, I would have still been alive and we still would have dropped the boss. And we're like, well, why would you say that right at the beginning? And so we're not sure, but either way, it was a good excuse.
Yeah, right.
We all died of mind controls. That's not even a thing.
Oh, that's so true.
Point. Thank you, Zatar. I'm going to bring that up.
Dude, then one of the wipes, everybody gets mind control. And I just my little gnome warlock just like sneaks out. And the one mind-controlled person that comes out after me, there's like 15 people over here. The one mind control is Yip, and he freaking charges me in his bear out there. I was like, it's almost like you're controlling that because it feels like you were coming after me. But we did drop it. We did drop it. So
yeah, but it was 6 wipes, and then we dropped it. So this is our night, right? Like we wipe on Caligos, we go to Brutalis, we wipe on Felpmist 6 times, and we're just like, guys, we've been one-nighting this. Like, what's happening? What are we doing? Then we get to Twins, and we one-shot Twins. And we're like, okay. I mean, it wasn't beautiful one-shot, right? But it wasn't bad. I mean, I will say we've had worse Twins runs, right?
Yeah, well, and Harskar had planned to call it there. He'd even said it earlier. It's like, I don't want to mess with Muru with only one resto shaman. Is like, But we dropped twins and we had an hour left, so he's like, "Well, let's go do some pulls."
It's like, well, we're gonna try.
Yeah, that was really actually impressive. We ended up.
Yeah, so we go to Muru. Harskar like figures out what I think. Who was it? The LA shaman did the grounding totem on one set of ads. Is that what happened?
I think it might have been an enhance. Yeah. Probably.
No, I think it was I think it was
was
two.
It 2 chains?
Yeah, it was 2 chains.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was the problem with only having one resto shaman is we did have 2 resto shamans. And then we also didn't have the lowering threat totem for the healer group.
Tranquilor, yeah.
Yeah, which I
That was a
died
huge
too.
problem.
And then we go in, we do the first pull. We don't get very far. It was like 26%, but there was a lot of like random, like I pulled aggro and died. I think Stu pulled aggro in but like before they even came out, and then one like didn't like resisted the taunt, I think that Yip did, and then just like charged Stoof and killed her, and then charged me and killed me. And so we were already down 2 healers, and we were like, okay, so we wiped that one. And then we went back and we killed it. We were like, oh, all right. We've still got 30 minutes left in raid, and we're like, okay, well, let's go try KJ and, see what happens. I think if we had had an hour, I think we probably could have killed KJ with the comp that we had.
Yeah,
but
I think so.
We gave it 2 attempts and then just didn't waste any more time. We didn't have all of our cooldowns. We didn't have all of our main raiders.
And everything, yeah. Our last attempt actually was really good. I think the only reason we ended up wiping is because when we had to go stack under the barrier or whatever, there's 2 Armageddons or whatever that happened, like in front of it, like at the front of it, and then at the back. Like
That's so unlucky.
Yeah,
I know, and Yip goes, you can run right or left too, and I was like, yeah, I know, but when I already run back because I saw it in the front,
it's really confusing for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible to dodge, but still,
for sure.
When does it actually happen?
Yeah, there's just so much going on in that fight. I feel like when you get to that phase where the fireballs come down, that it's like just so many graphics on my screen. Plus, I'm looking at health bars.
Oh, curious.
Yeah.
Zatar, do you guys use the spread out strat, or do you use the stack strat on KJ?
I think we spread. I mean, I guess you could stack for farm, I guess, but like I think it's a really bad idea for any progressing guild to stack, because you're essentially just reducing the practice you get. Like you need to stack and spread. You have to do that to do the boss. You can't even stack during the Armageddon phase anyway. So it's kind of like, sure, you could stack to get a better parse, but realistically, I think spreading is always the better move for like being consistent and like doing the mechanics right. Even if you bring in one new person to the raid, it's their first time in there. If by the time they get to the like, the phase with the phase 4 with the infernals coming down, if they've actually done some stack and spreads, like they kind of get what's going on. But if they've been just stacked up, not moving, then it kind of not. So
I think you're saying, that makes sense.
I think stacking is just for parsing, really, not for actually trying to make the fight better.
Which is a bummer. It's parsing. Parsing is such a horrible thing.
I think it's rough in Sunwell. It feels like our guild, like it's really hard for anyone in our guild to parse anymore, because I feel like the percentage of guilds that are killing everything in Sunwell is like way skewed compared to like in BT, everyone can do it. So you've got a bunch of like,
I can see that.
Bumbling guilds, that maybe don't do very much damage. They're making you look better. But now like the percentage wise, like we look awful parse wise. And it feels like it's because we pretty much safe strat pretty much everything.
Same. Yeah.
It's I'm consistent. You don't have to worry about wipes,
Well, like I go from I go from Mount Hydro BT parsing. I have 99s on almost everything and then 98s on everything else except for a comma. So I only have like a 90 there. But
he's a meme.
You're still bitter about that.
I'm still bitter about that. But But then I go here and I'm like lucky to have a high 80s parse, you know, like, and that's not like normally I'm in like the high 70s parses. And I just don't think there's anything I can do with those strats that we use, you know?
Well, shamans too. I think like the raid is very shaman dense as well, because people like imagine you were like a high end guild that was already like pumping and logging or had really good logs. You're adding more resto shamans for Sunwell for specific encounters, or maybe you're upping healers and you're going to resto shamans. So if you look through like top warlocks, it's like really rough to parse if you only get one lust. Like you need like 2-3 lusts. You need a PI. Like it feels like that's kind of what Sunwell parsing is, or on a fight like Muru, it's playing incorrectly, right? Like you're not supposed to just spam seed on the humans when there's like sentinels out that you need to be killing, but that's what the top parsing people are doing.
For some of the speedrunning guilds, they're actually they have shamans on standby and they're switching shamans out for lust cooldowns and whatnot. For some of that
like
stuff,
walking into the raid with a fresh lust because it's not up for the boss.
Yeah, from a fresh character, they'll do stuff that's crazy. So it's like you're not gonna beat that 100 when they're doing stuff like that, you know. But
I mean, all in all, like we're in sweaty casual guilds, and you know we're just here to down bosses. I don't know. That's how I'm kind of like. That's how I'm dealing with it.
Log in, clear content, have a good time.
It's tough because, you know, not everyone in the raid feels that way. I bet there's even probably some in your guild that there's a couple that are like, man, I just really want to parse. It's tough. It's tough trying to keep people happy.
Like Kasemo, you know?
I just want to play sub and just parse and sub.
Yeah.
They won't let me do.
Mr. Kasemo, who tells us just last week, he's like, dude, I saved all of my cooldowns for when I went downstairs. On Caligos, it's like I saved all of my cooldowns, and it worked out really good. We're like, you were supposed to be doing that the whole time. He's like, yeah, but parses. We're like, dude. like,
I was like, I might be able to get off like another adrenaline rush because the boss encounter's taking so long at that point. Because obviously you get the point where it's like whole DPS because the percentage is off. I'm like, maybe I can get off a second AR and then like be okay.
And I just trust everybody. But like I should have known when like Caligos up top is like at like 15% and the boss downstairs is at 60. I should have known that I was the only one saving cooldowns. It's just
more it's more consistent. And then I don't know, like even when we did that, like I got this happened this one time and I thought they were gonna like check me out on it. I got the crit buff on Caligos last night on one of the fights, and I was just like 3.5k, like almost 4k DPS, and I was doing crazy DPS, and I was like, they're gonna call it now. I'll be like, did you pop cooldowns on Caligos again? No,
well, I mean,
I didn't. I swear.
To be fair, you and IEDD both have glaive sets, and like you were making fun, but I mean. Melee is pretty important, especially
without
on
cooldowns.
KJ.
You do a lot of damage on a lot of bosses, especially like Demon, of course. But that's kind of what I was noticing with Caligos. So
I mean, KJ, like if you do the like spread out strategy, it's pretty hard for us raids to get the buff every time, the haste buff. But you guys are just pumping, like.
Oh yeah, it's easy for us.
Yeah.
Well, so, they're usually the melee stacked too. So even when you didn't just do like a shield, the dragon user always runs to the melee and breaths them anyway. Because there's like, I'm not going to go breath one caster that's spreading. I'm going to go breath either the stack of 5 and then go to the other side, the other stack of 5, or the 10, however they do it.
And I've gotten pretty good the last couple of weeks of like running in. If the timing's right, if we get the reflections adds down quick enough, then I can run in with the melee, grab the buff, and then run back to my spot. Because what's it called? I always forget the names of things. When you go on fire and you can hurt other people.
The blooms, fire blooms.
Blooms,
None of them come out in the next phase right after. But if you're running behind, especially with our guild, because the prop pally that takes on the ads is also the dragon. So if we get those down quick, he gets to the dragon quicker, I can definitely get in there and grab a buff. But if we don't, then I don't risk going in. But I've gotten better at getting the buff more often, and getting the buff really helps take like shield orbs down way faster and everything.
It helps my mana.
Yeah, but I mean he gives the melee the buff and then goes around and gives it to the different healers too. He just doesn't hit
melee
the range.
Are pretty good about reflections. They try to help you guys kind of get off them fast too. Because like my mindset with ID, I know like Car Scare, I'm pretty sure too. We like instantly go over with ads unless it's like melee unfriendly. And just save Blade Fury for that, and then we Blade Fury on those, to get more damage and make it a little bit of cleaner to kill. So it definitely helps out with everybody.
All right, well, that's...
So what... No, I want to ask one question to Zatar. So what did you guys find... Like, what boss that you guys have downed, and you've downed them all, but, like, what boss do you guys annoyingly wipe on the most?
Felmis. We've had some Felmist regression. We had a 7 wipe night to Felmist. It's a good time.
Sounds like, we've kind of had...
I feel
That's like us with Felmist,
And it's like almost more frustrating because you can do it, and it's like, what's happening, people?
What bothers me the most is it's Onyxia, basically, and I'm just like, why? Why is this happening? This is like the same mechanic as Onyxia almost, which is like a little bit more advanced, obviously. But...
I mean, it is still a dangerous fight because you've got tank taking extra damage. The entire raid can die, encapsulate. I mean, there's RNG to encapsulate too, but the reality is, no matter what happens, you should be able to kill the boss every time because it's not that hard. It's just, people don't adapt to bad RNG. And then it's really easy to be like, well, we got 2 encapsulates on melee. Like, what are we supposed to do? And it's like, well, could just, run and run
away.
You're supposed to be able to live that. But
we can't not do damage. What are you talking about? Just move, get away.
We did get a WeakAuras that does like yell at me when encapsulates in my range and I need to move away, which is really helpful.
Although it actually messed me up once last night. I didn't die, luckily, but like our groups weren't spaced out. They were like, or at least I was too far left towards the other group, and the alarm went off, and I just instinctively ran to the left, but it was Vaporeon that had it, and luckily I ran to the left and ate candy. Or else I would have died. But like I was just like, okay, this alarm's great, but I need to pay a little bit more attention and not just take the cue from the alarm.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I'll be like raid leading. I'm like, all right, there could be an encapsulate. Be ready to run. And they're like, that's everyone in the raid. Like, be ready to move. Like, pay attention. I don't know, because I don't have much time to save you.
Because a lot of people just kind of like zone out after a while. And they're like.
That's exactly what Harscar does too. He's like, just don't forget candy.
Coming soon.
He's like, don't forget your candy. Don't forget this, guys.
For sure.
It's got to be crazy being the raid lead.
You just don't want to die to Felmist, man. Felmist is so bad.
Yeah,
I know.
I feel like he kind of just downplays the whole raid, and everybody just kind of like zones out after you start wiping on Felmist too much.
Yeah, and he's like halfway through, really getting the morale down.
Yeah, and you'll have like a bunch of wipes in a row where people are like one-off mistake or something. And then of course you got the breath wipe like deep in there somewhere where like you should have killed the boss by now. Then you have the breath wipe. And then it's just
and those hurt too. Like, when the worst is just when you see 1 or 2 people, you're like, all right, dude. But then when you see like all of a sudden, like I don't know if you guys play. I play with just enemy raid frames or
default, right?
Yeah.
No, the bars for
the enemy nameplates.
Yes. Thank you. And then all of a sudden, I just see a ton of them. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, they just pop up.
Lost.
It's 15.
Yeah, actually, that is accurate. You talk about.
Yeah,
you just can't play your character. You're like, wait, what's going on? And they just pop up. And you're like, oh man.
And like, unless you're really far down, you don't know if you're the 1 or 2 people or you're like the one or two people that didn't get hit by it. Like it takes a second to be like, was it me? Or
yeah, that's what happens to me every time I get mind controlled. I'm like, wait, am I mind controlled or is everybody else mind controlled? It's probably me. Okay.
I don't have friendly turned on, so as soon as I see all those nameplates, I just know it's instantly bad news.
Yeah, but if you're mind controlled,
it's still changes.
Turned on.
Yeah, no. But if you're mind controlled, then all of a sudden, the same thing happens. Yeah, the people who aren't mind controlled enemy nameplates show them because they're now
basically
enemies.
Show up as enemies. So I go from seeing one bar to the whole raid.
Yeah,
which is terrifying.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was raid progress. Let's move into time for the news. All right. So first off in the news, I'm just gonna spout it off. If anybody wants to say anything about it, they can. But there are hotfixes coming to Naxxramas in Season of Mastery. That is not Wrath. That is Season of Mastery. There are hotfixes coming, and Naxxramas Classic Season of Mastery launches on July 28th. I do want to talk just a little bit about this because they're doing some changes. I don't want to talk too much about the changes because I don't know much about them. If we had Duratosaur on, he could probably tell us more. But there's going to be some little quests and new things that possibly make up for no world buffs. But that's what I want to talk about. Is Naxxramas with no world buffs, because there's not a ton of people raiding. There's like 9,000 people raiding in Season of Mastery according to Ironforge.pro. But what's it going to be like for them going in with no world buffs? Now, Zatar, you played you played Classic. You did Nax, right?
Yep. So I can give you the perspective of a guild that disbanded in Nax.
Oh, no shit. Okay.
My original Classic guild disbanded in Nax. I can tell you why we did and why this kind of thing would be, I guess, would be rough. But I mean, I don't know. I haven't kept up to date too much, but it's going to be very, very, very expensive. Maybe prices are cheaper because less people are playing, or I know they made changes to Black Lotus and stuff, but
they did. Yeah, they did.
They
made changes to
procs and stuff too.
There's extra procs on when you're making flasks or potions,
protection potions too, probably. So maybe it's not too bad, but like the problem we had is it was just so far into the game. People just were like, I just don't really feel like farming that many protection potions. Like I'll show up to raid, but somebody's going to have to trade me those. And then that became like 15 people in our guild, 20 people in our guild were like, I don't really care enough to farm anymore. But yeah, I know that there's a lot of guilds that rebuffed for the last two bosses with world buffs and would not attempt them without world buffs. So yeah,
we had Salve Dally on 2 or 3 weeks after Nax launched in Classic. It was the second time he was on, but he even said that in the first like 3 weeks they wouldn't even attempt Sephiron without world buffs. It just they wouldn't even waste the time. Not that he was like, I don't even know if we could do it because we just wouldn't try.
It's just like a percentage win rate. You're basically like, we're looking at 60 versus an 80. It's like, we're not going in 60, we're going 80. We're going to go get the world buffs again.
But do you think part of that was parsing too?
No, because they were more about speed. Yeah, they were more about speed.
Well, speed too, though. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is like they were a speedrunning guild, or a lot of people were parsing guilds, right? Like, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I mean, I think we came close on Saffron a couple times without world buffs, right? Like,
we did.
No, we did later with a ton of gear. Like,
right?
Yeah, like 2 or 3 months later with a ton of gear. Like, and like, because remember when you come in, like you have to farm all the stuff to make all your frost resist gear. So the reason they and other people were able to take saffron so early is just because of world buffs and basically out DPSing the, frost damage mechanic, basically.
Yeah, it sounds awful to me. I'll be honest, it doesn't sound like fun, but I don't know.
Dude, it sounds awful to me too, because now we were slower than most. In our defense, we had a lot of people that liked retail. So we had a bunch of people messing around on retail too. So they didn't farm their stones, for instance, from the event, the stones that gave you all the extra undead attack power. We took a break for Thanksgiving. We took a break for Christmas. But we did end up getting everything down. Kasemo, do you remember? Mel, do you remember? Was it 2 months? Or was it 6 weeks? It was somewhere between 6 weeks and 2 months.
I want to say 2 months, probably.
Yeah,
but it wasn't too bad. We actually, I don't really remember us getting hard stuck on any boss particularly too bad. Besides like Saf, but I don't know. We still ended up doing that pretty okay. I don't know. I try to forget most of it because Fire Mage, but
a long time ago.
Yeah. And how many? 386 deaths. I don't know how many.
Dude, you died so much.
Yeah,
Listen,
being
I was
a fire
right
mage
up there with you.
and trying to parse or do anything, and other fire mages are just like, I don't care about anything, and they just keep pumping the ignite and let you die.
Was it in TBC that I died a lot?
I don't think you
I'm
died.
pretty sure it was Classic.
Classic.
Did I not? No, no, I didn't. It was TBC. It was like going into TBC with
because like priests had no stamina on
it. We had like no stamina.
Yeah. Just anything kills you. That's what it is. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, talking about your guild broke up because of consumes. I would wager a guess. See, I played a ton, and we had a few people that played a ton, but we had a lot of people that raid logged, but always had consumes. So I would guess that like we had a lot of gold buyers, and I think like that's the only thing that probably kept us going. So
yeah,
I mean, it's like
hypothetically,
I don't know that to be true, but like it's just like looking at people, it's like when they log in, just maybe they have other accounts and they play all the time. I don't know, but when they're, I never see them on, and I'm on like 8 hours a day, and like
never on the game.
Yeah, they're just never on except for raid. I'm like, how the hell did you? What? But yeah. So it was definitely a struggle, and that's why it dropped down to like almost nobody clearing Nax. But still was way more than our original vanilla. But yeah, without world buffs, like I just can't imagine what patchwork's going to be like. Like we only did 4 horse one time without world buffs. Patchwork, I don't know if we ever did patch without world buffs. I know we did Saffron once without world buffs. I know we did KT a few times without world buffs.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure we did patchwork without world buffs, because I'm pretty sure
maybe
there was
a couple
one time
times after where
somebody wiped us all at the beginning.
Maybe like once we got a lot of gear, but I just remember those first times, and even with world buffs, healers were running out of mana before we're done, and I just don't.
Negative.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Well, I think another big issue is how are you going to progress in a timely fashion when re-clearing takes so long? Because the raid is just very large. So
much trash.
Back when we had buffs, you can re-clear pretty fast because you're doing, 1.5-ish, 2-ish times more damage. At least movement-wise, because you're sustaining mana, you're probably going twice as fast because you don't have to stop as much to drink. Everything's dying faster. It all stacks up. So I feel like I think it's also just going to be a case of like, depending on how many times a week people are raiding or how many hours, they're not going to have as much time to progress because re-clearing is going to take a lot longer. So that's going to slow things down a lot.
That's true. Yeah.
Speaking of too, they're actually taking away like drink walking hasn't been helping with TBC and like classic rating a lot. Wrath, not there's no more drinking and walking. So.
Yeah, but Wrath also makes a lot of changes to mana. Mana is
really
not going to be as
Yeah.
much of an issue as it was.
I mean,
prior.
Divine Pity on a Paladin, for instance, like immediately.
Well, I mean, even not in a raid environment, like mana's just a lot. It's a lot easier to keep your mana up, but but there are these new buffs. We don't know a lot about them. They've been very vague about them, so maybe they will be something that make it a lot easier. We'll have to wait. We'll probably have Duranosaur on like the week after this drop, so he can give us the skitty, because he's one of the last bastions, at least in content creation, that's raiding those raids. All right.
I have a question.
Oh, shoot.
Do you have the technology to show a clip? Because I could show you guys a Naxx clip. That was kind
I'd
of
really love that if you could.
I put it in the channel if you want.
Hold on here.
You.
At least on stream, right?
On stream, I might be able to do it here.
It is an era. It is my most popular Twitch clip by a landslide, and it is
all right.
Kind of showed the end of an era.
Let me see.
I'm challenging you here. The production
see this.
So let's add. I'm also gonna have to change my audio so that it actually plays in the clip. Hold on.
Oh yeah, except
because I have it set to not record, because that's where I play my music. Next capture. I'm gonna have this up in just a second.
Gonna be worth it, I can tell.
Yeah, it's sometimes people will just pop into my chat, hit the command, and then just leave. And they just wanted to see it again.
I know clips like that. Yeah.
Oh, I see it up.
Right, now it's just.
Let me.
Can you share your screen with us?
Pull this over. I don't know if I can do that on the fly here, but I can click this, and then I should be able to play it here on stream.
Yeah,
I got stream now.
Yeah. Oh, I almost already know what's gonna happen here.
What took your spore?
Oh no.
One person's taking the spore. Oh my gosh.
No.
Why would you even why would you kill it? Why?
That was we did not clear Naxxramas.
And I mean, like, just to let you know, that stuff, I mean, maybe not one person, but that stuff was happening to us, like, where they wouldn't wait for the last two or three people because they wanted to get back in parse. So so like we were having like similar things happen, but never one person.
Now this was progression, and then also it's one thing if you like run over there. Oh, you guys not here yet? But they all they're like charging in. So
oh my god,
dude! The whole time I'm like, all right, group 3 spore. All right, head over to the spore. Oh, the spore's gone. Okay, well, group 3, you're gonna have to go again. Group 3, we missed the spore again. Group 3,
not again.
Oh no!
What are you guys doing?
Dude,
oh my god!
And
I'm pretty sure that's why Hearthguard changed our the way we position the boss, so they all spawned like in the back.
Opposites from the spores. Yeah.
Yeah, the spores spawned in the back, so you didn't have to run as far.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a hot mess for a while, and then it was the worst when like the healer would be in a group and they'd miss their heal, and it was like, and if you're next to heal, you're always like, are they can heal? Like, are they healing? I don't know if I should heal. Like,
well, and on that fight, like, Yip would like never let me go in an early group, like to get the spores. But then the 2 times that he let me go in the early group, I completely screwed up. Like, I mean, both times. And I was just like, man.
That was my chance.
Yeah. And it's just like all of a sudden the pressure's on. I'm like, damn it.
Too much pressure.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, I'm excited to see what they do. I know not a lot of people are playing it. That's why we don't really cover a ton of the Season of Mastery stuff. But it still is exciting for me to watch, even though like I have no plan to play any of it still. But
it's a lot easier to watch than play.
Yeah. On the last piece of news, so Gehennas EU realm is closing to free transfers. So a little bit of background on this is, I guess they were trying to get people. They were giving free transfers off of Gehennas.
Off of Firemaw, right?
No, off of Firemaw, and you couldn't go to Gehennas, like, but you could go to other servers that also had free transfers, and you could. This is how I understand it. I could be wrong. You could bunny hop from another server to Gehennas, and so Gehennas popped up to like, what is it up to now? Like 20K,
like 20,642.
Yep.
Yeah, sounds about right.
And basically, Firemaw went from like fairly like even to now it's
63% Alliance, 37%
dominated.
Horde.
Yeah,
well, I don't know if that's updated too. I think it should be much more lopsided.
It's even worse, yeah, because it only updates every like 3 weeks, I think, or 2 weeks, maybe.
Yeah, so I hear it is massive now. Like that, like most guilds have transferred.
Another mega server.
Yep. So
you guys, every time I see a Horde on Benediction, like I saw a Horde the other day at the bank, and I was like, "What? What are you doing
actually
here?"
Popping up a decent amount on Benediction, which is kind of weird. There's a decent.
There was a.
They were taking over towers just today.
Yeah, see, not percentage wise, but there was a guild that transferred over during summer.
This says it was refreshed July 13th, which was 2 days ago.
Yeah, I mean, we should still be a mega server, but there is like a little group that's surprising that shouldn't exist. Usually it's just people's alts or something, or second accounts, or whatever, to flip towers or something like that. But there's actually like raiding groups that are including Sunwell on Benny, which is weird.
That is really weird.
Yeah.
Well, I just thought
Whitemane is 99.5 Horde.
Oh my god.
Now the next piece of news just made me ecstatic. Addons enabled in Wrath beta. Addons enabled. I don't know how many addons are up, but can I get a addons are in beta? All that I've seen advertised. I was looking a little bit today, but Questie, WeakAuras, which are 2 huge ones, Wowhead Looter, which I always wondered. I asked somebody about this a long time ago. I was like, they have to have like an add-on that gives them the info on drop rates, because their drop rates are all wrong, and it must be just not everybody's using the add-on. And it turns out they do have an add-on, and I just never knew about it. So I'll end up getting that just to help them out. But dude, so we were talking about add-ons in the beta earlier. Have you guys got to play with add-ons yet? I'm playing after the show, but as far as now, I haven't.
I have. Oh, you got it, Zatar?
Yeah, so right now it seems like most add-on type things, you still download like the TBC version of the add-on. Some add-ons are updating so that they work for Wrath and TBC, but you can just chuck a bunch of add-ons from TBC and see if they work. A lot of them do not. The ones I wanted, I pretty much mainly wanted Plater. Plater I was not able to get working right away, but maybe someone will fix it.
Wait, what's Plater?
Plater is, in my opinion, a mandatory add-on for any tank, but you could use it for anything. Right. But what it does,
No, save it. We're going to do it at the end of the show for add-on of the week. Stick around for add-on of the week. We're like out of add-ons, and like this sounds awesome to me. So
I could give you my add-on list of
after.
I got my 6 essential add-ons. Maybe I could cover other people's add-on of the week if they need. I don't know.
There you go. We'll have you on.
Message me for add-on of the week.
Pre-record your old 6 add-ons of the week.
Sweet. We'll do that at the end, and I am excited. But okay, so basically, you just kind of have to check. I bet Curse shows it if it's like for like they might have different add-ons listed as 4.7.0 or whatever. 7.
You might be able to see like a update date or something. Maybe
I want to say on Curse they have a thing for it now.
Nice.
If I remember correctly when I downloaded it, but
and
most of the time you gotta go to the actual Discord of the add-on, like Questie on their Discord you can get it from and whatnot. So
yep. That was exactly what I was going to say. WeakAuras and Questie's, the Discord has them updated quickly.
Yeah,
but I can't just like download them on CurseForge and then be active.
No. I tried today. There's not even a category for the Wrath beta yet.
Yeah. I mean, why there's only 3 at the moment, right? Like,
yeah, but I think some people were saying like old recount works, but details. I know details didn't work for me, but like you just try a few different things. Some work.
I know right now currently I'm using Pratt, and I don't think there's a BC Pratt technically.
Unfortunately, have you read the page on Pratt?
No.
Hopefully somebody, me too. Hopefully somebody picks it up, but the add-on creator says right on the front page will not be continuing into Wrath. So hopefully somebody picks it up, and because that happens a lot of times with add-ons, the original creator stops and then somebody picks it up and like recreates it.
Someone's gonna do something with it, because it's such a great add-on. Oh my god, it's like life-changing for me not having it. It's
pretty nice. But so that's out. And wait, so did you try them out? Did they work fine? Did you try Questie out or anything? I know you're testing stuff.
I didn't do too much. I tried.
I know you don't like Questie, but did you test it?
I did not test Questie. You might convert me. I might have to actually use Questie this time in Wrath because I did not play Alliance in original Wrath, so I actually don't know the quests. So you might have me converted here. I might actually use it this confused.
Time. Well,
so this will be like the first time I don't know the quests in his own since original vanilla. So.
Well, this is something I talked about in a podcast earlier. I wonder, because we had a bunch of different Questie type add-ons in Wrath and in TBC, and I wonder, and then like basically Wrath, like, you know, they implemented their own Questie at the end of Wrath, and I think like they were designing quests with that in mind, and the quests do not seem as intuitive in text form as they were prior. Like, I'm not super smart, but I mean, I should have been able to quest fairly easy. I was able to do it in the TBC beta for weeks without Questie. Like, but it seemed harder in Wrath, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the deal was.
You're right about that. It's completely confusing, some of the quests, and you literally have to Wowhead everything.
Yeah, well, and they say go to this village, and it's not marked on the map. It
doesn't show on the map.
Yeah, and it's like, well, how do I know where that village is? You don't even give a from this location mark. And then Silver TV was on and talking about lots of the quests say, then return to me. And you're like, who the fuck is me?
Who's me?
who am I returning this to? I don't remember who I picked this quest up from. So
see, that's a big problem I had too. Is like trying to remember. I was like, wait, where did I even get this from? Because you go through that rabbit hole of being a Wowhead and try to figure out where things are and what you need to do, and then you have to remember, wait, where did I even get this quest? You have to Wowhead where you got the quest. And you're like, oh my god. Yeah. You're like, I have 18 tabs open trying to figure out a quest. Like, what's going on?
But I mean, that's why it's weird that they took it out when it was in without changing quest text, because original Wrath, you're supposed to have arrows and circles on the map. Mm-hmm. So when they take it back, it's kind of a little weird. But
All right, well, I'm excited about it. I'm going to play after this show, so I'm hoping it works. I've heard there's a lot of quests broken in the later stages, but we're still in Howling Fjord, so
Someone in chat was talking about it's
good.
Buggy, but I don't know, from the, I guess, 15, 30-ish minutes that I've gotten to play with it, it was literally just point A, B, C, just constantly just going in a linear pattern now. And like actually be able to quest, which just feels really good with Questie at least.
I mean, even if it's buggy, it's better than nothing.
Definitely. At least it gives you like an area, maybe.
Reference point, yeah.
The last piece of news is kind of sad. You know, pour out your 40. Heroes of the Storm officially enters maintenance mode. This was last week's news, but we were running super long with Sarth, so we ended up just not talking about it. But I just thought I would mention it. I know it's not WoW Classic, but it is part of the Blizzard family, and just kind of sad that it'll not be going any like place from here. It was sad when they lost their support for esports, and now it's even more sad. I never really played it much, but I know a lot of people were very fond of Heroes of the Storm. Did you guys ever play Heroes? Mel and I really didn't.
Played a decent amount of it. It was really fun, and I think a lot of people, what they really like about the game is just how it incorporates all of Blizzard's games into it with the skins and characters and everything like that, which is like really kind of like next level, like different dimension kind of thing where you're like, oh, I can play StarCraft characters with like Diablo characters and WoW characters, And a lot of us do play the other games, so it's really intriguing for them to have like a collaboration of it in a game like that.
That's what I thought was neat about it. But every time I tried to play, I was super confused, and there were so many things to buy with real money, and it was really off-putting to me when I tried to get into it. But I did try late. But I don't know. Zatar, did you ever play it?
I guess tried it. I never really played it much. I played other MOBAs and stuff, but I guess that's just one I wasn't a big fan of. Didn't have a good impression.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, see, I had never played any other MOBAs, and supposedly that was supposed to be the one that was easy to get into. But just all the transactions, all the different things you could buy, I was just very overwhelmed. And yeah.
As far as a MOBA, it was definitely easier to get into and understand because it's more just, there weren't really items like there are other MOBAs and whatnot, like with League and Smite and stuff. So that makes it a lot easier where you don't have to know a build going in and whatnot, even though most of these games have recommended items and stuff. But with that, it's just level and you pick a skill, and there are builds still, but it's just picking abilities, not necessarily items that you have to read and how do these items work for my character and stuff like that. It's a little less technical than most. So
yeah, we played.
Nothing to say about this topic.
Yeah, the only times Mel and I played were when they had the little crossover things where you get Overwatch skins from playing a certain amount, and we just struggle bust through. I would look up builds. I had one game where I was the top player as Diablo, and I don't know how I was the top player. I just know that my friend who was playing with us, who played a ton of it, was like, "Dude, you did this, this, and this," and I was like, "I don't know, man. I was just
I was mashing buttons.
Chose a build and just hit all my buttons."
Pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, sorry. R.I.P. All right.
Yeah, it's out of here.
We're gonna move on to
Bobby. We need to have a talk about this World of Warcraft Classic. Do I look like I know what a WoW token is?
All right. This week's discussion, we're going to get to know Zatar. All right, Zatar, first off, we want to know your WoW background. When did you start playing WoW originally, retail-wise, and how long did you play for?
Yeah, so I originally started playing in vanilla as like a young kid. I started playing at 6 years old, and I was, obviously terrible. I only leveled, so I obviously didn't hit end game. Obviously didn't do anything. I hit end game maybe
Slacker, 6 years old. You can't be running Nax. Come on, Zatar.
I was not, but yeah.
So 6-year-olds at the end of the game content, yeah.
Yeah, but then when it came to TBC, I had some characters hit max at the very end. Only did heroics. Never stepped foot in a raid. Wrath was when I first started raiding. But most of these times, how often do you have like a kid that can convince their parents to maintain an active sub for a full year and stuff? So I played bursts, but I played a few different bursts in Wrath until I got a sword ninja looted and started crying and got banned from playing WoW.
Well, hold on.
Takata came out.
Let me bring you back. You said you did some raiding in TBC.
I did not do any raiding in TBC. First raids were Wrath.
First raids were Wrath. So Wrath, you were probably about like what, 9 or 10 at that point?
Yeah, at that point, I would be like, 10.
Yeah, so you were 6 would have been super squeaker, but you were definitely squeaker. Like,
I was not good at the game or anything. I was getting, I still didn't know what was going on at all.
Okay, so how did you get? I guess Wrath was a little different in vanilla. Like, we didn't raid at TBC, so we don't really know. But in vanilla, basically, squeakers were it was 18 or up to get into any guild that actually did anything, right?
Yeah.
But Wrath might have been a little different. Did you go on pugs or were you in a guild?
I was not. No, I did not go into a guild for much of the reason no one would want me in there. I wasn't good, and I also, was a kid. So
you can't even jump in comms. We don't want him in comms.
Yeah. So, and this is by no means even cutting edge content or anything. The sword was from ICC Heroic 25. I have no clue how I got in there, but it was very late to where there was.
So it might have been a pug.
It was definitely a pug. Absolutely a pug.
Yeah.
But
well, it's just a lot of people talk about Wrath. Pugs were pretty. I mean, after Nax, pugs were basically running. There were tons of pugs everywhere, and it wasn't SR. There was none of that. It was just basically you just rolled on loot. There were some
Dungeon Finder. Remember?
No.
Let's not get started on this.
No, we didn't.
Topic.
Yeah, we didn't have Dungeon Finder until ICC, but yeah, it was just there were pugs. When we were in Ulduar, there were pugs for Nax going constantly. So it's just something I don't know if it started in TBC, but that was rampant in Wrath. Whereas in vanilla, there was no pugs. You weren't pugging raids at all anywhere.
Yeah, this was I did ICC maybe 2 times total, and we're talking way into the buff that made you do 1 million damage.
Mm-hmm.
We're not killing any actually hard boss or anything. I don't know how far the group went because I exited the group at Saurfang, but or after Saurfang's loot was distributed, and then took a long little break before I got Kata. But yeah.
So you got grounded from the game by your parents because you cried about it, right?
So I was crying because I got the sword ninja looted. Yeah.
Was it
You're you don't need to be playing a game that's gonna make you this upset?
Yeah, they're you're supposed to be having fun, and I'm like,
was it similar?
I got bullied on WoW.
Was it similar to the one video where I think it was a staged video, but you got to know what I'm talking about, where the little brother sets up a camera in the room and the kid's gets grounded from WoW, and then he's smacking his keyboard against his head and banging his head against stuff.
Oh, he does the freak out thing? Yeah.
That
video's insane.
Oh,
I wasn't I was mainly just crying and sad, and it wasn't I was destroying anything. It was more why this is the most expensive game you could possibly be playing. Why can't you just play a game that has a one-time fee?
Right.
We're not paying a monthly subscription for you to cry.
On your parents' cards, it's fair, right?
Yeah, I mean it makes sense, but what can you do? They shouldn't have ninja'd that sword, man.
I mean,
right?
Like,
you should go find this person's house and tell them they shouldn't have ninja my sword, Mom. Come on.
If you want me to cry, you should tell them not to ninja my sword.
See, I am a boomer, but I can relate because I had to talk my parents, and me and my brother had to talk our parents into Ultima Online, which was the first like subbing, MMO. So like trying to talk them into that was not easy, and we did the same types of things.
To talk about Ultima Online, he will. But no, okay. So you went through. So you stopped in Kata, right?
So I stopped until Kata. I did play the early Kata heroics, and that was probably pretty influential to how I like play WoW now. Because like I'd say dungeons is probably like one of my favorite things to do, and I like them being hard.
And Kata at the start, raids and dungeons were hard.
I really like the dungeons. Like I remember, like I don't remember all the names, but it was one of the wind ones where you had those like little gremlins stacked up and made like a tower. The last boss was like a wind dude. It was in Uldum. I don't remember the name of it, but it was in Uldum. But anyway, like there's like a croc boss in there that like I feel like we always died to the crocodile boss. And then the last boss, there was like some mechanic you had to dodge. Everyone died to. Actually, that's the third to last boss. Anyway, I really like the dungeons. I really like Kata dungeons, and I love TBC dungeons. I don't know. I like them to be hard. I like. I would rather like every third dungeon I go to like disband in a 2-hour disaster versus like the Wrath style where it's like, okay, this dungeon's going to take.
What do you feel about Mythic Plus dungeons or whatever in retail then?
Yeah, I'd say Mythic Plus is something that I think is probably pretty cool if you get into like a circle with people playing Mythic Plus. I'd say that I don't hate the concept or anything, but as we, I guess, get with the history of retail, I just don't like retail in the modern style very much. I just have a really hard time not quitting. So I actually, there was something like that. Like I would definitely play a Mythic Plus if they could make it work of some time. Like a dungeon end game is something very appealing. The game around it, I was not able to get into enough.
You like the concept, just not in retail format. Basically.
Yeah, I just don't like retail basically, but I do like dungeons as in-game content.
Yeah, Mel and I played hardcore PvE in vanilla, hardcore PvP in TBC, hardcore PvE in Wrath. And then we got to Kata and we really just sputtered out and never came back. And like people ask if I'm going to go back to, if there would be anything that would bring me back to retail. And I'm like, dude, the game's just too bloated. Like you log in and you see all this weird shit everywhere. Yip. Our old extra other host described it as a Japanese mall or a Japanese mini mall or something like that. Like there's just shit everywhere, and it's just like, and I don't like the new graphics. I don't like how everybody runs all weird. Like,
yeah, the animations are super bad.
Yeah, I'm just not into it.
And I think some of the animations are like unplayable. Like I actively was trying to play retail
a lot.
Yeah, like the gnomes run, and they do it like, I don't know if it was actually in TBC and in vanilla, but if you use like a run speed potion, a gnome will like his head's behind, his feet are under. I don't think that actually happened in actual real old vanilla and TBC. I think that's something that just carried over, because there were things that just carried over that like are very small, minute things, but I don't ever remember seeing that animation. But it doesn't bother me with just like a rush pot, but that's how they run normally in retail, and I'm just like,
yeah.
Orc shoulders like bounce like crazy on retail. It's actually like to me it's like really hard to play. Like I try and look past it, but that's one of the big things I think that makes the game worse. That and items.
And dude, humans run bow-legged as hell. I mean, they're like they're like on a horse but running. Like it's the weirdest looking thing.
You're just waiting, they're just going to add on top of all that is dragons too. You have dragon people running around now.
Yeah, and it's just like it's so easy too. Not like there's definitely things that are much harder. Like, don't get me wrong there, but like as far as the regular game goes, like I see people playing it and they're just like gods among men, and they're just like killing everything, and and you're also the hero of the story instead of one of the people that's interacting with heroes in this.
Make it like story. A solo play thing more, yeah.
Yeah, and what's funny is I got a little scared when I first jumped into the Wrath beta because I was about a week behind, and I watched Zatar's video on Warrior. I was like, well, I'm gonna port my Warrior over, and I'm playing only the Warrior. I think I talked to Silver TV and Duranosaur when they were on for that episode. I was like, I worry that like the quests and everything are too easy because I'm literally just destroying everything. And then I decide to make a rogue. I did port one, like it's just made the like template rogue. I worked him up in combat, and I'm dying all over the place. And I'm like, wait a second, this is way different than my prot warrior that was geared, with Zatar's arms build, the revenge build. I was like, okay, maybe it's not as easy as I thought. I was just playing like a really tough character.
Yeah.
I think it's just prot warrior base values are really strong too. So like you don't even need that much gear. Revenge just kind of does more damage than it should. But these base values are pretty nuts. Even like a relatively geared rogue, like you just don't kill things that fast unless you're cleaving them up. I'm sure maybe Glaive rogue.
Wait for your killing spree, and then outside that, you're waiting for the next blade for your killing spree to AoE something down.
Yeah, I mean,
it's weird.
Kasemo went in multiple dungeons with prot warriors, and he's like basically Biss with glaives, and the prot warriors are out DPSing
still
him.
Damaging, yeah. He's doing running personal logs, still damaging, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
Yeah, we're both.
But that's a tangent.
We're both spamming haste pots and sappers and everything, and going crazy.
Right.
All right, so
okay.
All right, Mel. Okay. Why did you come back for Classic? Like, did you play private servers? Like,
well, hold on. Before you ask that, did you continue to test out when new expansions came out? Like, did you continue to be in the WoW scene, or did you give it up completely?
I played So I played Kata. It basically descends from there. So where I would play Wrath a decent bit, Kata less. Mop I barely played. WoD I played at pre-patch to prepare for Legion, and then I played Legion.
You did keep because we just quit and didn't ever come back.
Well, let him finish. So
I didn't
went
know
through
private
Legion.
servers existed at that point, and I still wanted to play the game, even though I didn't like exactly how the game was going. But yeah, I mean, I've played every expansion because usually I'll have like a friend or somebody that's like, oh, it's going to be different this time. I'll play with them.
There's always hype.
I don't feel too bad about the time, like the money or whatever I spend on like a game like retail, because you do typically get a month. If you go in saying to yourself, okay, let's pretend this is a real game, like a typical game, not a subscription model, I can probably get a good month out of this.
That's what
retail
enjoyment
purchase, and it's not that bad. Now, does it fall off a cliff after that? Like, I kind of had fun in Shadowlands for 1 month, and then I hated it and thought it was awful and didn't want to play it again. I got my month, I guess. It's not that big of a deal. But yeah, I've kind of played like 1 month of each of the expansions pretty much. Sometimes I go back, but
that's fair.
Yeah, I'm like a broken record in interviews with this, but like I always want to see how the interviewee reacts to it. Like, I did get grouped in with roped in by a friend once. It was in MOP. They were giving one free with recruit a friend, 1 free 90 boost. I was like, okay, I'll come back. I got the 90 boost. I was a little overwhelmed because I hadn't played since, mid Kata. I'm like, looking all around at stuff. I'm like, oh, this is okay, cool. Okay, cool. And then I pull up talents, and the talents had turned into like some like console game talents, like, and that's what killed it for me. I just literally logged out, and that was the last time I ever logged into retail. I still haven't logged into retail since coming back to Classic, even though I've got all kinds of cool shit. But like, I just know, like,
that's funny because I feel like a lot of people like that, but it was more from like a kind of coming off from like arena standpoint. So where you could like, because at that point you can see who you're fighting, right? And then it's just like you can pick and choose, like, oh, we're fighting this, so I'll play these talents based on this comp.
Somebody should have used that argument on me, maybe, but.
Yeah, that was where it was good. PvE, yeah, I can see where it's just like, what the hell is going on? This is weird.
It just took out all kinds of ingenuity. Like, just for instance, the arms prot build that has just come out. Like, that's like you can still find shit like that. Like, that's cool. Like, that's what's so cool about the old talents. But I'm just curious of how you feel about how they changed the talents.
Well, so back in the day, there's a couple people that did the arms thing, but it wasn't like a strategy. So you can find like a video of a dude doing the arms thing. I found out after the fact. There are people doing it, but like it certainly was something somebody did, but it wasn't like everyone knew about it. This was a strategy being used. You know, it's not like half of the tanks or a third of the tanks were doing it. It was just a build that somebody had tried. But
makes you wonder if anybody figured out Fury prot in original vanilla, but there's no record of it or something.
Yeah. I think as you go, you're going to find less and less innovation, which is kind of a sad thing to think about when it comes to like the classic era or whatever. But like even coming into Wrath, there's probably going to be a lot less innovation than there was in TBC. And just because people were better at the game at the time when Wrath was out. And I think a lot more optimization probably happened at that point than in TBC. Well, I know that people were a lot better at that.
Yeah.
But for the talent trees, I would say I like the old school talent trees. I think the biggest impact for me isn't end game, but actually leveling. I think for some reason, it just feels really good to get a talent point when you level up. I think it's one of the things about leveling. You're constantly upgrading your gear. You're constantly getting talents. Like, feels like things are happening. Whereas in retail, sometimes I know they've been changing it and they've done a bunch of level squishes, but like sometimes it feels like you just like level up. You're not getting anything. You're not going to the trainer, which I'm not saying is like, oh, I love going to a trainer, but there's just something about the feeling of like, I roll up to the trainer, get all my spells.
You're getting more powerful. Like it's like, this is going to help me.
Well, and also in retail, the homogenation of stats. So like, you had a really cool recent video talking about wasted stats, right? You're talking about expertise when going up against lower level mobs. You're talking about hit rating when going on trash in a raid rather than on the boss. Like, these are things that separate the really good players from the not, like by education wise, like not by, like, and I think that's one of the coolest parts about Wrath and Back is that there were so many things that you could just be completely gearing wrong because you didn't realize that this was the cap on the certain thing that you were doing at that time. And that's what I love about Wrath and BE4. And what I don't love about how in retail, everything for a warrior is of strength. You could literally switch to any spec and have the same exact gear. And that just feels lame to me.
You're almost like protected from equipping the wrong item too. Like you cannot acquire like an intellect item in the game unless it's BOE. Like you just can't. If you're playing a warrior, it doesn't pop up on your screen. Like there's nothing. And sure, you're not going to like be a complete noob needing on an intellect item, not knowing what's going on. But you probably would have figured out like 10 seconds later when the group yelled at you, like, yo, man, you're needing on intellect. Strength is what you do. I mean, you probably would have figured that out organically, maybe a little more community driven. But
or think about BWL in Classic Classic Vanilla. The leg plates of, I forget what they are, but they drop in BWL. And if you didn't buy the crazy expensive ones that had the use to get 100 strength,
Or Cloud Keepers, I think is the use ones.
Yeah. I think you're right. But the ones that drop in BWL that have intellect on them are pretty goddamn good for a warrior, and you just wouldn't have even been able to get those,
I think those only drop for Alliance players, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really?
It seemed like it, yeah.
Because I don't think on Horde side anyone, I've never seen that item in Classic, but I do know the item you're talking about. But I come to think of it, I've never seen. I don't know what that drops from.
Yeah,
I think it's Paladin only, like Alliance, not Paladin restricted, but Alliance.
Because that makes sense because Paladin. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, it's basically strength, intellect, stamina, and it was a great piece. It carried me all through until the AQ patch dropped, and I bought the BOE ones. Titanic leggings, and so but yeah, those types of things, and I just I like that type of you can be doing it totally wrong deal, and sometimes I like it just because I can look at someone's gear and be like, dude, this guy has no idea what he's doing.
I love that's another problem with transmog too, is I like looking at someone and being like, this dude knows what they're doing. They've got this item that not everyone knows about, but that's a good one. Or this guy's kind of a noob. He's using the trap items.
Do you hate transmog?
I do not think transmog is very good for the game. I think it's really good.
Dude, I'm sorry. Everybody gives me so much shit. Everybody gives me so much shit for shitting on transmog. I'm like, dude, I don't think it's a good thing for the game at all. I think only Jordy has ever been like, yeah, dude, totally agree. Our old host Yip would give me crap, and I'm like, dude, I think I would like it if you could toggle it on and off client side. Because then, in town, you could have a good fun, right? But then toggle it off. I want to see what you wear. And then it usually seems like it's the retail players that are like, it's fine. But that's because in retail, you can tell how geared somebody is by their life.
Yeah, by their HP.
Because everything's homogenized.
Yeah, you don't know. And I don't know. It's so cool to just walk up to a dude. I know how geared a person is by looking at them because I know all the items in TBC. I could see them from across the battleground or something. And I'm like, this dude's in dungeon set. I'm killing him, Or you haven't even clicked on him yet. And you're like, that staff. This guy's using the staff from BM normal or Black Mirror's normal.
Right. It's how I felt in Classic when I went. No, it's how I felt in Classic when I went into Battlegrounds and I had the little glowing staff.
Yeah.
What was it? The one you had to make as a priest.
Benediction.
Yeah. And everybody knew, hey, here's a priest coming with benediction staff. Let's kill her.
Holy priest. Kill him.
And the one time that we're doing a whole a whole bunch of pre-made BGs, and she's like, I don't know, guys, people just aren't attacking me today. This feels great. And then halfway through the BGs, she goes, oh, I have my fishing pole on. I was like, leave it on if they're not attacking you.
Yeah, hide the benediction. We did a lot of that when we were doing ranking stuff. Sometimes we tell people to put take off pieces of gear.
Basically, Kasemo, we do a bunch of arenas and stuff together, and he picks them out immediately, with shoulder pads.
You see a certain helm on somebody,
helmets,
and you look at their PvE gear. You can tell the PvE and PP gear, whatever.
Yeah, you can tell the shade of the gear, and you're like, this guy doesn't have resilience. He might have health, but he doesn't have resilience. Kill him.
We did a game earlier, and I was just immediately like, oh, this guy has a PvE. He has cursed vision on his hunter. It's PvE gear. Keep looking at his gear. It's more red than dark red, which is their PvP set. So it's PvE hunter. He's completely PvE. Kill him.
All right, well, we're
show helm being a strategic disadvantage, like just from Classic. I remember that too. Is like, don't show your helm in Classic if you're. You could have a rocket helm. You could have mind control.
Yeah, that was a thing too. Yeah, I did a lot of that. I never showed helm when I was ranking because it was just
to disadvantage.
If you know have mind control cap on, you know it's coming.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we definitely got on a tangent there, but okay. So bring us back to why you came back to Classic. And did you play any private servers prior to Classic?
Yeah, so like I kind of mentioned, I guess a little bit before, where I wanted to play the game, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted. I hit a realization like maybe mop time, where I had this like, itch to play a game that didn't exist, at least to my knowledge. And that was kind of annoying. So I really wanted Classic to come back. I did play some private servers. The problem I had with private servers is I did not feel a permanence to them. And I didn't want to invest in them. And so I actually, and this is going to sound really stupid to most people because most people don't play the game this way. I leveled a shaman 1 to 60 on a private server. The second I hit 60, I quit. I didn't do any end game. And then I did the same thing again on another shaman. And I didn't play any end game again. And then the only end game I really did on any private server is I did play, actually I did it in a Wrath server too. I got all the way to 80 and then quit as soon as I hit max. But the only end game I played was on a TBC server. I played a Prot Warrior on a TBC private server. But yeah.
So when did you start playing in game in like your original journey? Like, 'cause you didn't do it in vanilla, you didn't do it in TBC, you didn't do it in Wrath, or you did do it in Wrath?
I mean, I don't know if you'd call it real endgame, like getting carried in someone else's pug raid, but I mean, I would say Wrath is when I started actually playing the game casually to where I'm doing dungeons and stuff. I'm doing heroics. I'm playing the game, but maybe not the end game. Kata, I did a little more raiding, but I would say WoD is probably the first time because I just would never have considered myself a raider. I was someone who liked leveling. I was someone who liked dungeons. I even preferred PvP and battlegrounds to raids, but WoD is probably the first time I actually like raided, and I raided the end. Like I said, pre-patch, I raided the last raid, Hellfire Citadel, I think, a little bit before the nerf, and then after the pre-patch nerfs. And I guess that was the first time I really raided. But I've never really been much of a raider till Classic, to be honest. It's not. Even in Classic, if you saw me playing, you could tell I was not a raider. I only raided for PvP gear. That was the only reason I raided in Classic, was to get gear for my rogue. And
so what got you to guild lead?
I said, I don't think raiding is very fun. So the only thing I can do to make this more interesting is either A, tank, or B, raid lead, like get more involved. So I did both at the same time.
You changed both variables and landed here.
Because I've always liked tanking in dungeons and stuff. But again, I just was never a raider. But I still sometimes feel like I'm not a raider in the sense that like I only will play my warrior in TBC. I don't think any other spec is fun in raid. I can do other stuff in dungeons or even a 10-man, but for some reason, I just don't think anything else is engaging enough to get me to the point where I would want to raid.
I can get that.
Well, what's crazy is back in our original vanilla, at least on PvP servers, I don't know what PvE servers are like. I never did it, but we played top end, like the top of the server we were on. And the whole reason most of us were raiding was to get PvP gear to PvP in just BGs. That was back, like a lot of it was before you actually had the cross realm stuff. So you fought like the same people constantly in BGs. Like
don't take
you
us
had
back
rivalries,
to PvP.
but like it's cool that like you wanted to do that as a means to an end. Like even like half of the people in our 40-man raid were like mostly PvP spec'd. Like, so
no, but he's talking about in Classic, not in vanilla.
I know, but he was bringing like the love that we had for PvP way back when into the Classic era.
You missed a transition here.
No, wait, okay, hold on. You said you only PvP'd in classic vanilla to PvP, right?
In Classic vanilla, yes. I was a stumbling child.
He was
leveling.
6.
No. Classic vanilla, not
classic.
vanilla.
Now, classic. In classic, yes. Like, as in, happened
still
a
6.
year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
Yes. So you
I
were
was
doing
10 at that point. Yes. And I did.
Yeah.
No.
I did only PvP. It was what I wanted. And I raided to get the items. Like, DFT is a big one. I never got DFT the entire game, even though I was like the rogue class leader. And people were just so confused. Like, why don't you want it? It's like, I don't think I'd equip it in PvP. I'd use active trinkets. And they're like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
what are you doing? And I was like, yeah, I'd honestly rather get, this is how I always got in trouble. And people would like, take what I said and say like, he says DFT is worse than Claw of the Firemaw Claw, the Claw of the Black Drake or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, I just didn't have a hemo weapon. I said I'd rather have that, but I didn't. Not saying DFT is worse than that Claw, but yeah, it's just a crazy world.
Okay, so in Classic, you PvP'd mainly.
Yes.
So when did you become raid leader?
I created a guild with some friends in TBC.
Okay.
And then, at first I was just the raid leader and I didn't do absolutely everything. But then all my friends kind of stopped playing the game as much. And then I did everything. So now I currently do everything.
Do you have officers?
There's some people with officer ranks, but the interesting thing we have, a lot of people talk about constantly how they don't like the game, but they still play it. So there's not really anyone that wants to do anything in our guild. But yeah, I got some people that hold my consumes because I don't have backspace. So there's
there
that.
You go.
And
I feel like our guild went through that. I feel like our guild went through that. Like Hearthscar went through that too, where there was at one point, I think, where just Hearthscar was wearing a lot of hats, and I don't think it was that other people wouldn't take them on. I think it was that
he just didn't ask any
like he
help.
didn't ask, they didn't offer, right? And but I think
they offered. He was just like, I'm good.
Yeah, and so I think it gets to a point where it's like, okay, well, I'm either going to burn out and not want to play this game at all, or other people are going to have to take certain things on. And I think it depends on the size of the guild and the drama that's within the guild and all of that stuff too. But what's your experience running a guild with just what's the, without divulging any information, private information, but what do you feel like you've learned the most versus what do you feel like has been the best part of being able to run your own guild?
Divulging private information?
Well, I'm just saying, divulging his.
I'll tell you the names of the people I blackmailed.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, I would say, first of all, I wouldn't. It's one of those things where I would never recommend anyone create a guild. I think it's a horrible idea. I don't think you should do it. But you might, if you're one of those people that are like, oh, I learned something. I've learned things. I've definitely improved as a person or whatever, gotten good life experience from, dealing with nice people, dealing with deranged, crazy people, right? Lots of different people. But
lots of 30-year-old children.
Yeah, it's not worth your time. But you might at the end of it feel like you learned something. But yeah, stuff I learned. The biggest one is you have to be if you're not firm enough to some people, you're actually not being nice to them, or you are being nice to them, but you're not being nice to the other 24 people. So if you got a dude showing up late every week or no showing, it's for me, it's a big deal. I do not tolerate no shows at all. You tell me you were in the hospital or something if you give me a reason why you can't message me on Discord, we're fine. But if you're going to tell me, sorry, lost track of time. Come on, man. We got 24 people here, right?
Yeah.
I blew up your phone with Discord, man. I Discord called you,
Right.
How do we not have Discord on the phone or what's going on?
Dude, the people that don't have Discord on their phone and play and raid at a substantial level, I'm just what are you doing?
Yeah. I can tell you one story of someone who's no longer in the guild, just divulging some private information as requested.
Thank you.
This person says, I say, well, what happened? You missed raid. And they're messaging me I think 4 or 5 hours after raid start time. So we were done by then. And they're like, yeah, sorry, my WoW sub ran out. It's like, your WoW sub ran out? That you couldn't use Discord?
Did your Discord sub run out too?
Yeah. I said, you couldn't send a Discord message. And then he goes, oh, I was at my friend's house. And I was like, well, you couldn't have found any way to get into Discord. You didn't have Discord on your phone. Oh, my phone died. It's like, oh, okay. All right.
You didn't have an outlet? Nobody had a charger that worked for your phone?
Well, and then his WoW, he was trying to reset to WoW, but his credit card wasn't working. And it's like, okay, man.
You seem to have a lot of personal barriers to being in this guild.
And I was like, all right, well, and it wasn't even their first no-show. This is because usually it's like one no-show, strict warning, like, I'm still potentially going to move you to bench. I'm still I'm not liking you very much. 2, I mean, we're done. It's just, it is what it is. But I've heard a lot of interesting stories.
Well,
one guy said he OD'd on Tylenol and couldn't come to raid.
What?
Well,
could you please submit a doctor's note? Thank you.
The best is when you get a reply. It's like, sorry, mate. I'm out at the pub. I totally forgot. It's just like, well, just make up a story.
Yeah, sometimes you're like, I just wasn't feeling raid tonight. I just wasn't feeling like raiding. Just wasn't into it tonight.
Like, oh, okay.
I'm like, where are you? And so weird. It's like you're a mother lecturing a child. Oh, that's how you would act. Like, okay, go to your, it's like,
go to the bench.
Yeah, yeah.
This is why I couldn't guild lead, is because I deal with this all day at work. There's no way I could also deal with it at night during raid. Like,
you'd be really good at it because you deal with it all the time, right?
Nope.
Dude, the only time that I led a guild was when Wrath started originally. It was like a group of our friends, and I ran our little 10-man guild, and then we combined with another like 10 to 15-man guild to make our 25-man guild, and I led that. And like, I only led it for like the Nax era. And then I was just like, okay, I can't do this.
It's very draining.
Yeah.
We used to have a friend. It's also, I think, harder running your friends, right? Because we used to have a friend that would get so drunk and he'd just like pass out mid raid. And we'd be like, hey, are you there? Hello? All right. What? Nope. Okay. He's gone. All right. Let's move on.
Yeah, but I mean, Nax was like super easy, 10-man, 25-man back in the day. Like, it actually worked out fine, but it's still just dealing with all the different people was just like, I was like, And I was an officer in guilds in vanilla, and like, I won't even be an officer ever again. Like, it's just, no, like, I'm just not going to do it.
Well, and so this is a funny thing too. I think a lot of people are like super out of touch in the sense that, like, so to preface it, I don't really care about items, and I'm always very low on prio compared to what you would expect from a average member, not just like an officer or something. Because I quite frankly don't care. I just take the stuff that I think would benefit the raid. But like, for example, I'm playing a prot warrior. I'm the main tank. I do not have tier boots in Sunwell. We've only seen 4, but I don't have them. I got I was like the 8th tier belt, and I was like the 7th tier wrist. I didn't feel I needed them. I don't think I needed them. I'd rather someone else enjoy the item. I don't care. But with that said, everything you say about like the effort and stuff going into it, I don't care if the GM takes the glaives, takes Ashes of Alar. Like, they can take whatever they want, because it is insane the amount of time that a lot of people put into the game compared to like someone just raid logging. I don't know, man. You got somebody over here working on spreadsheets late at night, losing sleep, trying to recruit because people are missing at last minute. Like, I think it's, you don't get a lot of appreciation either from, I think, most people that don't understand what's going on. But yeah, I've heard a lot of crazy things.
Well, what you're doing, I think, actually builds a lot of respect, even though people might not say it to you. Like, our GM and raid lead was he started out hunter, but he switched to warrior like during SSC TK, right? But he did not take glaives from the 2 rogues we had in the guild, and like got glaives like after that, right? And like, I mean, that's huge because I feel like most guild leads would take it first, especially since even warrior, it's probably even better prioed to the DPS warrior, like in most cases for trash and everything else. Like, so
yeah, they definitely do better on trash with it. Yeah.
So like, I think like whether it's said or not from people in your guild, I feel like people definitely notice that. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's how I would see it. But I also have been in a ton of like guilds and a ton of bad raid leads and a ton of bad GMs. Like, so I'm a lot more appreciative of the good ones. But
well, it just changes your perspective being on the other side. And I don't mean to say like no one in my guild appreciates me or something. I mean more like the average player that you catch complaining, especially on like Reddit. You see a Reddit thread like, my raid leader's taking everything. He wanted glaives and ashes. And I'm like, and he's like, yeah, he passed a lot of gear in Black Temple, but he's taking a lot of the big stuff. And I'm like, that's all he's taking. Like, he could, in my opinion, he could take every item. I know there's a lot of guild leaders that take literally everything that can benefit their character before anyone else. And I still would say that's probably like, you know what? It's just like someone who runs a pug rezzing an item. It's like, except this person does it every single week, like day in, day out.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
the majority of people don't understand the effort that goes in to running a guild.
Maybe that's why I'm different, is because I've done it and I'm just like, oh my God, thank you for doing this.
Well, even the funny thing, I always hear people complain about like corrupt loot council. And personally, in my opinion, I feel like every time I read the stories, I can pick up little details. 99% of the time when I hear someone say, man, my old guild was awful, the raid lead was such a bad person, like maybe not 99, but like 90% of the time, they are the one that is actually crazy. Anytime like a new recruit joins a guild and they're like, yeah, my last guild was awful, they were crazy, like nothing was fair. Like huge red flag, because sure,
dude,
they could
huge red flag. We've had so many of those. They come in and they're pumpers. They're like, yeah, my guild was crazy, and then all of a sudden, slowly, you start seeing the crazy,
crazier and crazy.
Yep, and you're like, okay, I see why you got kicked from your other guild now.
Yeah. Well, another funny thing, we actually, and this is true, we have never recruited a orange parsing, not even just like anyone who has orange on any other Warcraft logs that stayed in our guild, because we're not considered like a high, top guild.
Yeah.
Give them 2 weeks. They're gone. They're upset about something, this, that, the other. We recruit a lot of people that became orange parsers later, but no one on the, like, unless it was an alt, no main character orange log person has ever stayed in our guild, because it's just something weird always comes. They're always just extremely crazy.
Dude, that's how we got, that's how our GM actually switched to warrior. We recruited we recruited 2 warriors. Both turned out to be a little crazy. Mm-hmm. But the Fury warrior, he was a big pumper, but then like, basically he quit like after, what was it, Kasemo, like 2 weeks or?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then and then Harskar came on his warrior and then did the same DPS, and he's like, guys, am I crazy? Am I doing this? And we're like, it looks like he got a new main, and that's how he actually switched from Hunter.
Well, that's another crazy thing. A lot of people see someone with like orange in their logs, they're like, wow, this guy must be really good. A lot of the people we would recruit, they would walk in like they're better than everyone in the raid. And the second they start playing, it's like, oh, you're not an orange parser anymore, are you? Yeah, with our kill times, join the middle of the pack, bud. You're not better than us. Or you're not superior to all of us.
You're not getting triple anymore.
Or also, lots of the times, to get those types of parses, you're actually playing against the raid. like in different situations, like warriors.
I can list a lot of things. Yeah,
like warrior could pull aggro on certain things and make the healers work overtime. But boy, they just get a bunch of huge rage to really start out this fight, right? Or a warlock can refuse to move when he needs to be 8 yards from something. Like all these different things, like sometimes it's a red flag when they do have the best parses.
Some classes do. Yeah.
Even healer parses, like healer parses are, I don't know,
healer
super annoying to me.
Just don't make sense.
Okay, but people still look at them, and I'm like, okay, if I'm on raid healing, sure, maybe, but I'm also not. Like if I'm on tank healing or burn target healing or something, I'm not going to try to pad my parses by throwing in these extra things when I know I may need mana later, right? And
it's true.
And I'm not in the Shadow Priest group, so I throw parses out the window.
You don't want to be that rogue that pops all his cooldowns on Caligos instead of the demon.
Yeah,
you don't want to be it.
All right. No. Well, we've went on a crazy tangent.
Sure.
So. Real quick, what classes do you play? You just play warrior currently, but like you said, you like rogue. What classes do you play? Like, I guess you just play tank. Yeah. Or you just play warrior.
Have you ever played a healer?
So I have 5 70s, and so I've got a druid. I've played healing and tank on it. I've got a hunter. I think Hunter's actually fun. I would have maybe played that if I leveled it sooner, but it was my 5th 70. Shaman, I've played all 3 specs, and I've got a rogue. I think that's 5. But for some reason, the thing is, like, to me, Prot Warrior in TBC is, because I'm a big theory crafter, to me it is the most fun spec ever made in all of WoW to theory craft. Because there's no other expansion where threat matters more. Even in Classic, it was just you just wear DPS gear. I mean, it's not like you think about it that hard. You just need to make sure
you're getting at with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas in TBC, you actually now need to worry about the defense, the offense. Like every stat that is not spell matters to a warrior. Every single one. The whole physical tree. So it's so fun to theory craft. I don't know. I just think I'm playing warrior while I have it in TBC because that's going away, and I don't know. I really love it. So.
Do you think the reason that like you love warrior so much is because you could just give the up yours to like everybody that says it's not meta? Like,
well, the thing is, I've never felt like I was playing an off meta spec. It never has felt to me like I was trying to be a hipster. I felt like at every time I've been playing my warrior, it's been the correct thing to do.
I feel like, dude, I'm with you. I mentioned this to my raid a couple weeks ago, and they like laughed me out of the room, and like only one person was like, yeah, they were like, yeah, well, they just be rage starved. I'm like, dude, I'm just gonna stop trying to talk about it, like, because they just automatically don't believe it, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of tough because you know, I think it's going to be really bad in Wrath with Prot Warrior because I think this, and maybe this is a little bit of a tangent. I think the biggest problem people have is they have a hard time differentiating percentage differences amongst classes. So if they look at like a tier list, you know, there's nothing on the tier list that says 2% between tiers. So they're in their head, they're like 10% between tiers. Oh, S tier is 50% better than C tier. No, right. It's like, and then people forget about the player playing the class. And so like going into Wrath, I'm losing my mind over the amount of people I'm hearing like, oh yeah, our guild posted the comp we're going to run. Only room for one rogue in the comp. And I'm like, what are you doing? We just went through TBC and you're restricting your comp to 25 exact classes.
And like
we finally have flexibility.
So much.
And like,
it's insane.
Everybody's like, oh yeah, we're going to stack Affilocks. And I'm sitting there going, dude, on our server, we were second to get Sarth 3 Drakes and Yogg 0 lights. And we had a warrior main tank. And we had 4 rogues. Like, dude, Rogues, I'm dying on this, right? Like I'm dying on this sword. Rogues are gonna be amazing in Wrath. Mages are gonna be amazing. Locks are gonna be, but I think actually destruction locks are gonna actually be better over the course of Wrath than Affy. And like there's so many content creators that are like the same private server players, and like I don't think that your servers were scripted correctly. Like, I mean, we could just see with the druids and everybody thinking Omen of Clarity was going to get procced with everything, and it doesn't. You know, like I think like people are really wrong, and like you can stack a ton of different classes, like. And so it's just like, it's just weird to see the whole BIS list, because I don't think there is a BIS list. I think you could do a BIS list for each boss. Yes, I think you could do that. But I don't think anybody can come with a BIS list.
Like BIS comp.
But a BIS comp list. Like you could do that for each boss, but to do it an overall thing for all of Wrath, I think is insane.
Well, it's just misleading information.
Everybody wants to make fun of Fury Warriors and stuff, but then if you ask like any content creator, it's like, okay, but you keep saying phase 1's going to be really easy, so why is it that big of a deal that some of the bosses matter slow?
Yeah,
but I would just argument it's just Dax again. Everybody already knows what they're going into anyway.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just think I think one of the questions coming up is like, what am I looking forward to in Wrath or something? It's just comps. It's just comps. That's all I care about. It's just, oh my gosh, how easy is to run a guild when like you just throw 25 random people into a comp builder and you have every buff just automatically. You're probably going to think about, I'm telling you, just pick the 25 things people want to play. You probably have to account for maybe one buff. Maybe you're missing one thing. You're just automatically going to get it.
And
everything.
Yeah. And like you were talking about a comp taking one rogue, right?
Yeah. Like, there was a guild that I heard that someone told me they were forced to reroll.
So say you take one rogue, you have one Trix. Like Tricks of the Trade, for anybody listening, is a buff that basically the rogue could put on anybody. It transfers all of the threat to the friendly target that they click. It also gives them a damage buff. Now, the beauty of Tricks of the Trade is right after you do it, you could also the aggro buff is actually on the rogue itself. So you can click that off. So basically a rogue can either put it on a tank and really help out their aggro, or they could put it on another DPS and really help their DPS. So if you have 4 rogues, if you want to make a boss fight extremely easy, the 4 rogues pop Tricks on the tank right off the bat. The tank's never going to lose aggro for the rest of the fight, period. Then Tricks is on a one minute cooldown. Then all the rogues can Tricks the other rogues in a circle and just have a complete uptime of DPS, because you'll just have a different macro that like clicks off the buff for threat. So it's crazy to me to think that you would want at least 2 or 3 rogues at the minimum. And I just
you
don't
want to
get
know
it.
it's even better? It's not a minute, it's 30 seconds.
Really? Wait, I swore it was
beta right now, looking at it.
30 seconds?
On beta right now is 30 seconds, yeah.
Okay, see, and then like
no glyph, no anything.
Yeah, and say you like see like that the tank's losing threat, you can just switch back to your other macro that puts it on the tank. Like it's huge. Like, and yeah.
Yeah, but I think like the main takeaway is like, even if the comp was right, let's say the exact comp was to run 3 rogues and 4 warlocks or something, right? The problem is a lot of people look at this comp and they're like, oh, we have 4 rogues. I'm going to tell one of the rogues to play Warlock. It's like, whoa, what are you doing here? Right? You don't need to follow it exactly. And in fact, you're better off having people play what they want, what they're comfortable with. They'll do more damage. They won't quit. You don't have to recruit more people. The only thing I think you worry about in Rad, and then you get your 25, you double check like balance of melee versus ranged, mainly for itemization, I would say. Like if you've got 15 melee and 5 casters, it's just going to be a little hard to gear people. But I would worry about that, and then making sure you have at least 2 shamans. So if one's missing, you have an extra lust. And I would call it a day there. You could, if you want, go further and look at the micro stuff, like tier tokens, like, oh, do we have too many people on one tier tokens? I wouldn't worry about it too much unless people are on the fence. You could say, oh, we already have too many death knights. You're unsure of it. Go with mage since we're lower. But I think people are taking this perfect composition. It's like 5 of these people aren't going to be there by Old War. Another 5 aren't going to be there by the next. It's just pointless.
Well, and then I would more so just worry about the Death Knight players, because they're obviously going to be a little bit of flavor month people anyway. But that would be my only thing I would say watch out for. Well, just too many Death Knights aren't going to be there later on. They're just like, oh, Death Knight's fun. Okay, what's the next game?
Well, also at the same time, you have people like back in the day, we cared about boss damage. I know private servers cared about boss damage, but throughout the classic scene, everybody's cared about overall. But you gotta realize in Wrath, most classes, DPS classes, get a comparable or good AOE. So really overall is not gonna matter much at all. And trash is a lot simpler. You're basically just going to be rounding everything up and AoEing. It's going to be less simple for the tanks, but more simple for DPS, basically.
Yeah.
All right. We have tangented the shit out of your interview. Alliance or Horde?
I'm currently playing Alliance, but
we'll take that. You don't have to go any further.
Yeah, we can stop there if you want, but you might get it where I was going. But yeah.
I mean, are you for the Horde?
I think Horde on average are better players and are cooler races. But what can you do?
Interesting.
Because I played both in Classic.
They also live in mud huts.
The problem is these Alliance players were carried by Salve in Classic, so they just started behind.
No.
I'm telling you, it's night and day. If you play Horde versus Alliance, it is so easy to.
Someone coming from a Horde to an Alliance aspect and then playing it, I know exactly what he's talking about.
I did it in Classic.
It's night and day.
I went,
especially as a melee.
End of Classic, I went from Horde to Alliance, and I'm like, I get into this grade. I'm like, dude, we're not clearing this. Look at this gear. Look at this. Look at that. I'm like, what's going on? Everything's going so well, and it's just Salve. It's just Salve.
You know what's crazy for me is how many Alliance were just scared to death to raid period without Salve. They're like, we have to have Salve before we pull constantly, and I'm like, we do that every pull as Horde
and Windfury.
We don't have
it's even Spike here.
Yeah. First global win.
You also had chain heal. Okay.
Well, the balance is completely different.
What was the boss in AQ that did the poison damage or whatever? That nobody really. Yeah, or whatever.
The race, right? The one where you have to kill it fast. Where it poisons everybody to death. That's Princess Hooveron. Yeah.
No. The one you needed to resist for as Alliance.
Vicitus.
Yeah, Vicitus. Yeah,
the one that slime. Yeah.
For Alliance, they got screwed on that. I know for a fact because of not having the shamans and whatnot. It was a lot harder on Alliance than it was Horde. I remember doing GDKPs on Horde, and they're like, "Oh, you guys don't have your poison resist gear, whatever." And you go over to Alliance, and they're like, "You need your poison dispel items on cooldown with full poison resist and everything." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
It was hell.
I'll give Alliance.
One boss was hell. But yeah,
it was. Yeah, Horde was a joke. Oh my god. I mean, it wasn't super easy, but still, I just remember, it's whatever. Wasn't that big of a deal.
All right. Well,
I wasn't consuming.
We do need to move on to the next. So You stream regularly. Like, how often do you stream? Do you stream like almost every day?
Yeah, I stream more than I should. Pretty much every day. Yeah.
Nice. What is a typical stream like?
Well, I love this video game. I'm always having fun. Always positive attitude.
Are you a teacher?
I am a teacher of the game. Yes.
So like, okay, so the reason I ask is because normally when I stream, I'm the student. Like, chat comes to educate me normally, or ask about something on the show. But like, you actually like you field questions from chat and basically teach them. Like, you're basically a teaching stream, right?
So I would say, I put it this way: I always read chat, and I will always answer questions and stuff. But like, especially like take Wrath. I am not a teacher of Wrath because I don't know. I wasn't a big private server player. But TBC, I can tell pretty much anything about TBC. But am I a teaching stream? I don't know. I'd say I'm a mix. Like, I probably have a few too many mental breakdowns to be an educational stream. But.
Okay, you don't teach Wrath now, but once you start to learn Wrath, for instance, doing the PTR, the warrior stuff, like, if someone came in and asked questions about that, you would answer, right? Because you know
tell them how to gear, what they have to do. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's basically what I was asking. Because like me, it's just like literally chat's just teaching me stuff, and I'm like, oh, I could do what?
No, it's definitely that way for Wrath though. Is I'm like, how's this going to work? And then people tell me how it's going to work in Wrath. But yeah.
Cool. All right. So you go back and you go back and forth, teach what you can, and learn what you can. Nice. All right. Do you enjoy streaming?
Like, I would say, yeah.
Here, when did you start streaming?
I started streaming when Classic came out. So phase 1 of Classic. I think I started streaming literally like the day of my first Classic raid. I'd say overall I probably enjoy it. Sometimes I don't, but I would be talking to myself if I didn't have a stream going anyway. So might as well stream.
Yep, same.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, I actually didn't even know I liked streaming until the Season of Mastery hardcore challenge, and I just wanted it all to be documented, so I streamed every time. I was like, this is awesome. I have actual company while I'm doing my little solo stream thing.
True.
True. All right, so do you stream any other games? I know the answer to this, but I don't, our listeners might not.
I mean, I would say maybe one day, but the idea was always like, oh, if there's downtime between WoW, I'll play a couple other things here and there. But it feels like, I don't know, it's always busy. So I would be open to it, but for now, I pretty much mainly play WoW.
Yeah, but I was watching your stream, like, I don't know, like a couple weeks ago, and you started playing this like weird thing where you were jumping on like lily pads or something.
Rugrats Royal Ransom, yes.
Was that like
good game?
Was that like I just
guys? But what?
No, it's a
did I just
very old
happen
game.
into you like streaming a different game that you just never do that?
So I have some friends that are speedrunners that play these weird niche old games, and they'll talk about like, Rugrats Royal Ransom is the best game ever made, or Battle for Bikini Bottom is the best game ever made. And so I agreed to do it. That game is insane. The game I played is called Rugrats Royal Ransom. It is not designed for children. Any children that play that game are probably risks to society. It is not Rugrats when you get into the game. I mean, there's the little kids, but if you can literally game over and it deletes all your progress. You have to restart.
Oh,
you play on the hardest. I game overed on the hardest difficulty. It's a full wipe.
Yep, roguelike.
It's not, but not when you're doing the levels, because it takes like 2 hours to do a level, and it's insanely difficult game. Very difficult in how it's hard to control. I'm gonna blame my controller for some of it, but that game is insane.
Wait, you're saying you don't even get like a second chance? Like it's just like one and done?
So obviously, like you can die and you don't game over, but like in the sense of like think of like a Sonic game, you run out of coins, you hit the game over screen, you're just done. Like you start over. Now I'm sure
that's like hardcore.
It is. It was the hardest difficulty.
Right?
It was the hardest difficulty of the game. It's called Reptar Tough, but still, I mean, it should not be. It should not be for children. Actually, insane.
Do not try this at home.
I would not recommend anyone play that game. But yeah.
Oh man. Okay, so you have a YouTube channel. What are your favorite types of videos to create? Well, I guess first tell us what types of videos you create, and then we can talk about your favorite.
Yeah, I'd say there's probably really just like two categories. I don't do much gameplay footage, I guess you'd call it. The only thing, the old Dark Moon Fair videos, a lot of people liked those. The only other little gameplay I did is I ganked people at Dark Moon Fair. Some people didn't like that, but anyway.
Yeah, because they were the
people being ganked.
The people like that got ganked. I should say the people who did it wrong. Because if you did it right, you couldn't get ganked in your.
You just unflag. But
at least in your hometown. Like
yes,
yeah. Like if it was in Goldshire and you were ally, if you died, it's your fucking fault.
Yeah, it wasn't my style to sit with 30 other people camping our own, hedgehog guy, and that wasn't really my style. But I would go to the enemy Dark Moon Fair and gank people. Pretty much, typically always by myself. Maybe very rarely with other people, but I give people a chance. Oh, I never dispelled anyone, but I gave them a chance to live.
That's the first video that I freaking found you. You were at Goldshire.
Yeah.
And you were in between Stormwind and Goldshire and just killing people over and over again that were flagged running down to get the buff or running up.
Oh my god. Towards the end of it. Yeah. I started looking up logs of people and you're like, full pink parser. Uh-oh.
That just clicked. Holy shit.
Yeah.
There goes his DMF.
Favorite parts of Classic.
That's a shame.
A lot of people getting War Chiefs as Alliance.
Yeah.
And getting their Songfire as the last thing was really a thing.
Yeah, but
just completely wiped their buffs. It was like 2 hours of getting buffs.
But yeah, besides that kind of stuff, I pretty much do either educational stuff, mainly around items, I would say, is like my focus because I like do itemization stuff. So these days I do like priority guides for like guilds, how to distribute loot. Before that, I did just one class at a time. Sometimes I still do that. And then I, on occasion, will do some non-serious videos. And those are always my favorite to make.
Those are good.
I've got a few good ones. I don't know. People take this game too seriously. And like my Warsong Gulch one, I love my Warsong Gulch video because I'm like, this is how you play Warsong Gulch. Stay away from the flag. Too crowded over there. You want to go to the graveyard. And then like, of course, the top comment, this is not how you win. You're supposed to play objective. I hate when people play like this in my games.
Nobody gets it.
But yeah.
You're missing the point.
Yeah. And then
right.
Yeah, I said it's cheating if you pre-made. So I'm on a 20-game win streak because those games didn't count that I lost. But I didn't count pre-mades as losses. But yeah, good times. I like those videos though. I like the Wrath one too. How to prepare for Wrath, and everything I'm saying is just not true, or I don't believe it to be true.
I also liked. So I was one of the people that wasn't on one side or the other on the looking for group thing. And you had a video where you really talked about, it's a really complex, like, discussion, whereas everybody else was on one side or the other, like, no, we should have this. No, we shouldn't have this. Like, it's like, there's so many intricate things about it, and you kind of go over it in your video. And that was one that I really liked too.
Yeah, I just think the big thing is when it comes to Classic, there's a lot of things that everyone even liked at the time. Like take a feature like Transmog. I think Transmog is a feature that is bad for the game, but it could even be popular if they said, hey, we're adding it to Wrath. I could see people being a fan of it, honestly. Yeah. But it's something that I think would make the game feel less like, meaningful, less meaning, like not as exciting when you get an item because you're not even going to look at the item. You get a cool item. It's not as cool because it's not even the coolest weapon in the game. But if without,
but I mean, it's true. I even turned on my helm. Like I've never turned on my helm, and I even turned on my helm when I got the tier in the tier that we're in, whatever it is.
Tier 6,
because it's like this really cool hood, like black hood, right? Like I saw Penta. We finally had another holy priest come in. He was wearing it, and I was like, "What hood is that?" And I was like, "Oh, I have that hood." Okay. I need to turn my hood on. Apparently, like, but that's cool, right? Like,
yeah. Like, well, and it's just like, it's just like. Ah, damn, I lost my train of thought there. Well,
yeah, we've talked this to death.
Yeah, but basically, like, I think like a good, happy, and I'm trying to drum this in because Blizzard employees definitely listen to the podcast. It's make it toggleable because it could be fun for like transmog competitions, stuff like that. Just please make it client side toggle. You can do that. I know for a fact you can. It's easy. Just do it, please. Because like I'm not going to mess around past Kata if you don't have that toggleable. Like it's going to make me mad. And what I lost my train of thought of was even if it's not cool looking, you're like sitting here with this one thing, you're like, damn it, this fucking sword's so good, but it looks so damn ugly. Like that's a good thing.
Like part of the decision. Some people pass items because they don't like the way it looks. It just adds another dimension. I'm not using that. I don't want to look like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. But I mean, the sad thing is, even if they added that feature you're talking about in retail, I unfortunately don't think it would matter still because the entire dungeon sets, they all are the same in retail now. Like all dungeon gear from every dungeon looks the same.
Yeah.
That's okay. And that's the next point I've made many times before too. Transmog made them lazy on design. I'm not.
I feel like that's true.
Everything I say, I don't give a shit if you do it in retail. You have a working model for the people that love your game. Keep that going. If we're taking Classic on past Wrath, this is what I want going past Wrath, and like give us new designs, give us new things. Like that's basically where I'm at, you know, like I don't care what we do with retail.
Well, yeah, obviously.
So you don't follow a model. Like what inspires you to make a video? Because like you've got like, I mean, you're all over the place. Like today I watched your latest one. You're talking about keybinds, which is something I talk to people about all the time. I'm like, dude, you're using the same keybinds that you just threw in right as you were leveling, and they're all over the place, right? You haven't actually thought about retooling that. Yeah. And like you talk about like having them in the right spot. Do you really want to hit Control-3 every time you do any move? Like, I mean, so what gives you the inspiration to make a video?
I mean, I always try and think of something that I feel like I don't like to do things that other people are releasing. So sometimes I'll even stop making videos that I had been making because other people are doing it. So for example, I made rogue videos every single time new content came out. I was like, here's like the items you should look for. You should, if you're in a DKP guild, this is how you should spend your DKP, because everyone had a BIS list. But at the start of Classic, no one was telling you like, okay, BIS lists are great and all, but like, no one's telling you the head is way better than the gloves. Don't go for the gloves. That's a trap. You know, there's other ones that are really close. The head is huge, right?
Let me stop you. Are you a DKP guild or a Loot Council guild?
We're a Loot Council guild, but you need to also know how good each of the items are for Loot Council too.
Gotcha. Well, we are a DKP guild since start of Classic, but I feel like we're weird in the amount of content we drop being a DKP guild, but sorry.
Yeah.
Continue.
But yeah, I mean, but just think of it though. Like, how do you know? Like, not everybody's going to go in and compare the healing upgrade of every item. Not everybody's going to go in a sim and check the DPS area. It's really nice to have someone say like, hey, we're in Black Temple, you know, you're a rogue. The weapons, you know, the weapons are going to be the biggest upgrade. You know, something like Curse Vision looks really cool, but there's actually other items that you can get that are also big upgrades that probably, you know, are going to be easier to get.
Less contested.
Exactly. But I always say like Curse Vision looks sick though. So, I mean, you want to go for it as a rogue, you go for it. But if you're kind of just caring about the numbers, it'd be like a disaster for a rogue to like spend all their DKP on Curse Vision when like rogue tier is the easiest to get and like you get to tier helm free pretty quickly. So I started doing that, but then lots of other people, like for example, like I'm a big fan of Simonize. His videos are just better than what mine used to be. So I just move on to something else because Simonize is a beast. And
Simonize is a beast. I'm trying to get him on the show. He is a beast.
He's on a different level, dude.
Yeah. So like, I don't like to make videos that are, I don't feel like you're adding anything. I'm not just going to repeat someone else's thing. So now the thing with, I don't know if I'm going to keep doing loot priority videos because when I did them, I think the only person who used to do them was like Scarm, and he stopped doing them. So there was a moment in time where I was like the loot council person, but then everybody's already cut up. There's already like 2 or 3, 4 more people doing loot council stuff each tier, but I'll probably still do it because my loot council priors are usually more researched, I guess, than most, rather than getting them out fast. But I'll probably still do that.
Speaking of which, that brings me to my next question. Like I've watched your loot council videos. Like I enjoy them at the start of a tier. It's something I listen to on the road or when I'm doing something, and the info is top notch. Like I don't think I've found you in air once. Like you've probably had airs. Everybody does, but I haven't found it. And like, how do you do your research? Is it all in game? Maybe like a solo private server, or maybe do you consult outside sources, or maybe all of the above?
So I don't have anyone like I bounce things off like in a one-on-one type fashion. I do it all myself, but I got to give credit to Twitch chat as well, because you know, it takes a long time to go through the videos. I go through every class Discord. I don't guess on any of the items. And it comes down to stat weights for a lot of them, makes life easier. If you have like a general idea of how stats work for each of the classes, like, you know, you just know things like rogues love hit, rogues like haste. Arms warriors, haste not as much, you know. Rets don't need as much hit. These are just like basic rules that apply to everything. But yeah, Twitch chat is definitely able to link me some lists sometimes that aren't obvious to find in Discords. And, you know,
Dude,
I take
Twitch chat is a cheat.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's awesome. But sorry, go ahead.
But I mean, no, that's pretty much it though, is I will work on the BIS lists on stream. That way other people can give feedback and stuff. But it's a lot of work.
That's the best way to do it. It's so nice.
I wonder how it compares with like the add-on pawn. Does anybody have that?
Yeah, so pawn is a really nice add-on if you keep updating it with your own weights, or if you run a spreadsheet or something. Obviously, it doesn't know how to do procs and stuff, but the big problem with pawn is a lot of the default settings are like leveling. So like it'll tell you intellect is good for hunters. And so people will write it off right away as like, this add-on is useless. It's telling me to go for intellect gear. But if you put your own stat weights in, and a big thing, I don't know if they all do it. The new WoW sim that everyone's using, the WoW sim site that like has a bunch of classes supported now. They have a stat weight button. I'm checking right now on the fly if they have it for every class. It looks like they might. So there's just a site, wowsims.github.io/TBC. And there's all these sims in there. You just hit the button stat weights and put those into 7D upgrades. Put them into pawn, whatever, and you've got that's it. That's all everyone's doing when it comes to stat weights. It's not like a rocket science or anything. But yeah, those add-ons are useful. You just got to make sure they're up to date and like decent stat weights. But yeah.
Shit. Now I'm wondering, Kasemo, you mentioned Pratt earlier on the show.
Yeah.
Now I'm wondering if I got that confused with Pawn.
Pratt's the chat add-on, right?
Yeah,
Pratt's the chat add-on.
Okay, Pawn
is the one that tells you how much upgrade you get from
percentage upgrade.
Yeah, Pawn is the one that's not getting continued in
okay.
Wrath.
That makes me feel a lot better.
Okay, yeah, Pratt's awesome. Okay, totally was wrong on that earlier in the episode. Please, hopefully you didn't all already send me hate.
I think that was pre-show.
No, I think, maybe.
No, I'm not sure at this point.
But yeah, hopefully somebody picks up Pawn, because that's and it's interesting seeing like the different things, because like, okay, so Pawn's great, right? But like, if I look at any item on my warrior that has armor pen, it tells me it's a like ginormous leap. But I'm at armor pen cap at the moment. So it's really not a ginormous leap for me to do more armor pen. So like it's just like you have to take it. You have to actually just know what your class needs and what your class's caps are to make it work correctly, because it's not just going to just dummy do it for you. Because I mean,
now if you sim, now this is another, I guess, where it gets advanced. If you're using a sim to generate the stats, if you put your character's gear in with the right armor debuffs, it's actually going to tell you that armor pen has a value of 0 because you're at armor pen cap. So then you don't want to, like, if you are simming and generating stat weights and stuff, do a quick little check, because it's going to tell you that hit is worthless and armor pen is worthless when you're at the caps, which is accurate. But if you start changing your gear around, you got to be careful of that.
Right.
But that's what makes it more difficult. And then what you do when you get, like, I guess, more into the theory crafting is you start realizing, okay, how much crit can I gain from dropping this hit? And so you're never going to sim how good hit is, because you're always going to be at hit cap for all like non-rogues and non-dual wielders. You're always going to be at hit cap. You don't need to sim how good hit is. You need to sim what do you gain from dropping, a specific hit item, or like if you have to hit cap, how much stats are you losing by gemming hit versus gemming crit or something.
Well, and then rogues are kind of a cheat, at least in Wrath. I didn't play PvE in Rogue in TBC, but rogues in Wrath is just a cheat, because if you get more hit, it's fine, because like your white hits are really a huge part of your DPS, and like you're never gonna hit the white hit cap. Like, so like it's like, oh, if I go over hit, it's okay, but like so many other classes, like say a warlock going over hit, that's just not cool. Like, that's just not good. You're just wasting
it's like,
stats
what are you
could have someplace
sacrificing
else
to go over hit? Right? Like, that's what you have to look at, is what are you sacrificing to go over hit?
Yeah, but I'm just saying it's easier for a rogue, because if you go over hit, you're like, cool.
You still get benefit from it.
Yeah, you're still getting benefit. But as like, for instance, my rogue or my lock in TBC, I've got too much hit, and I don't have like the proper gear to like swap it out. Like, I haven't got the good pants drop or any of the good like single drops that aren't tier in Sunwell. So like, I'm just sitting here with like ginormous hit, and I'm like, everything past 211 is a waste. And honestly, we have an LE chamois, so everything past like I think 180 or 181 is just a complete waste. But like, I don't have anything else to put in there. Whereas rogues will still gain a benefit of having the extra.
Don't you have a boomkin too that increases your hit?
No,
That's
he increases
physical
crit. But
crit and
he
physical hit
increases
to the melee.
Yeah, he like empowers melee too. But
Got
yeah,
it.
so it's just kind
Okay,
of like.
so wait, can I get that website again? So because I went to right now, I'm at wowsims.github.io. Is that right?
Mel's checking
So
out
the funny
Sims
thing,
now.
if you
What?
don't put /TBC at the end, it's like the site doesn't exist.
No, but
which
it
kind
is
of funny.
it says
Mhm.
wowsims.github.io/TBC.
Okay,
but-
you see a drop down for any classes or anything in there?
So like there's a bunch of classes, but there's no holy, there's no healers here.
Oh yeah, you can't sim a
yeah,
healer.
you can't sim heals.
Come on.
What do you want them? What do you want them to sim?
Yeah, like
You
okay,
can't sim a healer.
like healers are the most like that's what we talk about. That's why logs are worthless. Like there's no way to sim heals.
They could sim you casting circle the whole fight. They could sim half circle, half renew.
Whatever.
They could just throw random stuff.
All
There
right,
are
well,
some stat weights, but yeah, that generally people come up with. But
what are your plans for content moving for like moving into Wrath? Because you said you don't know a ton, but like, what are your plans for con? Are you just gonna, as you learn, you're gonna inform the rest of us, or what are your plans?
yeah, so I try and be very careful that I never release any content about stuff I don't know what I'm talking about ever. So I'm always going to, unfortunately, start pretty slow in every new phase, unless I decide to play a private server, which I don't think I will. But I'm always going to start pretty slow because I'm not going to make any educational content on stuff I don't know about. But I will be making, probably more regular content because I'm going to delegate a little more in Wrath, so I'm less busy. I definitely let the raid leading, guild leading stuff take up too much time from like YouTube content and stuff. But yeah, maybe it'll take maybe a month or two in before I'm starting to release educational stuff. But I mean, some of the stuff is, I'm not going to go in there with making a meta tier list of what classes people should play because I just don't have that knowledge. I might make a fun tier list based on the beta and say like, hey, I've played every single class. These classes are really fun. These classes aren't, stuff like that.
Right.
Well, and
but I
let's
think
just
what
be
I want to point
honest.
out.
Hold on, though.
Real fast.
Okay,
nope. What I want to point out is that I think everybody searches, how do we get through Sunwell, right?
Okay.
Or, I mean, that's not what they search, but they're inevitably searching how do we get through Sunwell. And the most popular videos are the ones that came out at the very start, right? Because those are the people that are, they just keep getting hits and keep getting hits, right? And what I want to encourage people to do is look at Zatar and say like, hey, yeah, I can look at this really, really popular video that came out day one on how do we, defeat Muru, or I can look at both of them and I can look at that one and then I can look at the Zatar's video where it gives a more realistic picture for some of our more sweaty casual guilds of like, this is how you actually can do it and this person actually went through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's also a lot of content I release that's targeted. No, I think the thing is most people playing are not at the hardcore level.
No.
But everybody talks that way. So it's really hard sometimes when you like watch any content on something new is like everyone is acting like they just say things. They speak things that are just like, it's like 50,000 assumptions that aren't there. They're like, you're gonna, so your feral druid, he's getting your hysteria. He's getting this, he's getting that. And he's like, well, hold on a second. We don't have a blood death knight, so there's no hysteria. Or our feral druid is not very good. We're not giving him hysteria.
And
right?
And feral is hard to play in Wrath.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah, I was just saying, it's funny because Mel shushed me, but this is probably why we are partners, is because I was going to say that anybody making a tier list right now is guessing on private servers. Like, there is no level 80 tier lists, period. Like, not for Nax, not for Ulduar, not for, Trial of the Crusader. Not for ICC. Like there's nothing. Like it's literally guesswork on, and private servers have been more and more wrong as expansions go on. So they were wrong about a lot in vanilla. They were wrong about a ton in TBC, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be wrong about a shit ton in Wrath. So
SAS Rogue's supposed to be from private servers really crazy with like, you know, just like doing poison stuff, fast daggers, but they're on beta now and they're like, yeah, that doesn't work like that.
Well, so, and I don't want to talk shit on the people that are doing private server stuff, but at the same time, I've even talked to them when they've come on the show. Like, I don't completely believe, but I love that you're making content prior. And I love that we're going to get to see if it's right or wrong. Like, and most of the content creators we've had on usually preface that this is private server data. So, you know, it's not like they're going to be upset when they're wrong. Like,
but they don't preface it in the title.
True. Well, I mean,
well,
YouTube is
right? I don't expect them to, but what I'm encouraging people to do is to search out Zatar and look at his videos.
Zatar
right?
even does clickbait, though.
I mean, we all
everybody
right?
does.
Zatar's
awesome video on Warriors. Yeah, his awesome one on Warriors is about 23 minutes long, but it's badass. But it says Warriors are the best take in TBC.
I think it's true.
Like everyone's like rage clicking,
but like everybody's rage clicking it. So it is clickbait. We do it with this show. Like everybody's guilty of the clickbait.
I'm not shunning clickbaiting. I'm just encouraging people to expand their horizons. Jesus, Bob.
Yeah, I wouldn't even go as far as to saying like I don't even think the private servers are going to be that off. Like I think most things are probably going to be pretty right. I'm sure there's going to be some details that are wrong.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same.
I think the big problem.
I feel opposite. Just because I played Wrath at a high level, like I just like the Affilock stuff. Like there's so many things I'm like, dope.
Well, and what I'll say that I think might reinforce your point. I think this is the biggest problem with the private server content, and I don't know this to be an absolute fact, but I have a lot of examples. Is a lot of the private server players, it sounds like they're playing with this vast, expansive pool of people, but you'll find out later that like a lot of people they're just playing with each other, and maybe the pool of players is not that big. So when someone says like, "I have never seen a Fury Warrior pump in phase 1, how many total Fury Warriors have they played with? Or when they say things like, man, this one class is really good. Well, maybe they just played with someone who's really good because the pool of players is so much smaller.
Yeah. I was watching Ruggs DPS ranking video, and Ruggs is my boy. I love him, dude. But he was on with another guy. I didn't know the other guy, but they were ranking stuff. And Ruggs is like, dude, combat rogues are like top tier. And he's like, no, I don't think so. And he's like, dude, you haven't played with the combat rogues I have. And like they had that same conversation back and forth with different classes all through that video. And I think you're right. They just like there wasn't logs to show them shit. Like it was just who they were playing with. And I mean that's fine, but like I think we're in for a really fun ride of people figuring out a lot of shit that works, and not just the like what you should have played on this private server. Because on the private servers, it's also just like you said, a small community, and they wouldn't even take a what was the one they were talking about? Like, okay, Sub Rogue. Okay, Sub Rogue, I'm pretty sure is probably never going to be good in anything. But both of them had never seen one in a raid. So like that's my whole point, is that like there's a ton of things they've probably never seen in a raid because there's just not that vast amount of people playing it.
Well, another thing too. So let's say Naxxramas is buffed on these. Well, we know it's buffed on these private servers. Think of it from the mindset of, if they know they're playing a buffed private server, how many people are going to play a class like Fury Warrior, which is seen as something that doesn't start out the gate well? Even if they say like, you know, well, we played on a buffed private server, but we still saw the Fury Warriors doing stuff. Well, you're going to see a lot less Fury Warriors playing because they don't think that it's going to be best on the harder difficulties. And so when you have a buffed private server, there's a lot of things like you're not going to test that because you already know, and you think you know, it's not going to be good. So like no good player on a private server is going to be playing a Fury Warrior in a buffed Nax that's actually hard when everyone seems in consensus that they're not very good. Who would do that? The only people that might do it would be the people that are like, maybe you would even gravitate towards it because of fun over maximizing damage. Well, that might not even be the type of person that's going to optimize or pump or do the most damage. So I think while a lot of general things that that a lot of the private server players, it gives us a good idea of what's going to happen. Like generally speaking, you know, a lot of stuff they say is like, okay, the paladin cheat death is a tank. We don't, you know, I get it. It's broken. They're right about it, right? It's a cheat death. It's going to be nuts. We can't.
And then a blanket raid wide debuff on damage too. Like,
So them saying those are like the best tanks, it's like, okay, I think there's a pretty high chance that prop paladin is going to be the best tank in terms of what value it provides to raid. I'm not saying like all private servers are wrong about everything or anything like that. But I think what the average player takeaway is when they see prop paladin in S, they see prop warrior in like D or something. It's not as bad as it sounds. It's not that you're not a horrible person if you play it.
That is unplayable. They're like, there's no way.
Yeah, but
people are gonna feel bad. Like they're letting the raid down if they play what they want. Just play what you want. It's all, the balance is so much better in Wrath. The balance is so much better.
Oh yeah.
I still feel like on a single target boss though, Warrior is going to just outshine all of the tanks in damage though. But I could
damage.
be wrong.
I think that Warriors will probably do the most damage in every situation. Probably the whole way.
Guys,
through.
I feel like
if you still have a prot or still have a prot pally, they can still blanket the raid, whether they're main tanking or I'm not. I do think that Warriors are only going to be good in raid as main tanks though, because like you need that colossal amount of raise to hit all of your buttons.
So what if people didn't do the like tier list? Right? What if they did like, say like 100% to 0%, right? And it was like this class and spec is 99%. This class and spec is 89%, right? So you can see the difference, right? Because
well, I mean, the DPS differences are actually way different than right now. Like, if someone's like above you, they're going to be like 0.2. I'm sorry. They're just like, if you're looking at the bars, they're just going to be like a little bit below you rather than the crazy differentiating we have now.
Like, I don't know if you guys have seen the Scotty J video where he says better than a tier list and he shows some old rankings from actual Wrath. But the bars are not very far apart except for stuff like BM Hunter, Sub Rogue, Frost Mage, which no one really even played because they're like but the bars are not very far apart. So I think that's the takeaway is like, okay, if you want to be speedrunning and you want to be the top guild in the world, maybe you do want to run 4 Affliction. Maybe that will turn out to be the best. But if you're an average guild and you've got 2 Affliction, like 3 Mage, there's a lot of pressure, I feel like right now, of like 3 Mage. One of those at least should go Affliction. It's like, no, it's fine.
Right.
The balance is so much better. No.
Yeah.
But so many people look at that tier list as like, this is what you have to have. And then same thing with parses, right? Like, this is what you have to do. And it's like, there's so much more in depth if you're not a S tier guild.
Well,
right.
actually, what you said,
you can actually enjoy the game playing what you want to play, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what you said was really smart about the ranking. I would say my answer why they don't rank it instead of doing a tier list is because they don't know the answer. Like they cannot tell you if something is 97 or 95 or 93. They don't know the answer. But what they probably could tell you is there's a margin they're within, but that would make it seem like you can play everything, which you can't.
And the big change going into Wrath is there's a lot more actual rotations.
Yep.
And like thinking about rotations in a sense of moving during boss fights and saving different things for different parts of boss fights, it actually really does separate the good players from the bad, like on an astronomical amount. Like compared to vanilla to Wrath, like we're talking like you got all those Fury warriors that are just pumping in vanilla. Yeah, it was easy because everything stood in one spot for the most part. Now the shit's changed and there's a lot more buttons, cooldowns, things to keep up. Like for instance, combat rogues, feral druids have a ton of things to keep up. Assassination rogues, it's really just your opener and then keeping things up. Well, I mean, Warlocks actually have a real rotation, like both Destro and Affy. No, I'm talking about Wrath. No, so like Wrath like actually changes it to where you will be able to pick out the good from the bad a lot easier than now or definitely vanilla.
Yeah, and you just need to bring the player, not the class. Like even my guild, I was talking about potential rosters and stuff. There's a lot of people in my guild that were actually like really concerned that we will not be able to clear content because they're like, there's more than one person that wants to play warrior. Like what's going to happen to us,
dude?
Like,
we're dealing with that same right now, and it's just like, dudes, we're gonna be fine.
Yeah,
I don't think we're dealing with that same right now.
Different people in the guild have definitely been like, oh, well, so-and-so picked this. I don't know if I want to pick this. And I'm like sitting here like I'm going rogue. And like two of the biggest guys in the guild are rogue. And I don't care. Like I'm going rogue.
Yeah.
Like Kasemo and IDDQD are both rogues. So I'm just like, I don't care. I'm going rogue. And I'm like, it's going to be completely fine.
Yeah. Like I said, it's like what you want to play. You want to enjoy it. So,
all right. 100%. So, we're like getting here towards the end. We've actually had a crazy long episode, but I do want to ask, especially since you like to plug in the Sims. I want to ask you what you're most excited about, but first I want to tell you what I'm most excited about in Wrath, and it's small. Okay. Training dummies in Wrath is what I spent hours on end being like, all right, what does this trinket do? If I pop this trinket before this trinket, is it better? I would do 3-minute like runs on the training dummies, and it felt so much better than any sim I had ever done before. Are you excited about training dummies? And what are you most excited about?
Am I excited about training dummies? Maybe a little less than you. We're training dummies, but since I'm probably gonna be playing like a tank, it's probably gonna be
it's completely hard.
Yeah, maybe if the threat meter's there, I could still test threat. So I guess that'd be good enough. You can't really look at threat too easily in logs. You have to look more at. There's a tool for it.
If you're playing warrior, threat would be worthless because it doesn't hit back. So
yeah, that's true. What I mean, I guess more specifically is like right now is like how much threat does my shield slam do with and without a 10% set bonus that increases its damage. Now that one, obviously you could say it's just going to do 10% more threat, but sometimes it's a little more involved of like, you know, how much threat am I actually gaining from equipping a certain item? But yeah, probably not as excited as you about the dummies.
Yeah, but I mean, every other tank could test threat accurately, like on them. It's just warrior always masterclass. You know, shit's tougher because rage generation is, you know, you can't test. But as a rogue in Wrath, I literally would sit there for hours and try out different stuff.
Yeah, I feel that.
And just like, and it was so much fun. I'd be like, I would start the timer. I'd be like, all right, going in. All right. I'm going to do this time. And it felt so much better than putting something in a sim. Like, because it was just like what I could do. Because maybe the best wasn't the best that I could be. Like maybe the best that I could be was a different type of rotation. Yeah, I don't know. It was just really cool. But
yeah, I get what you're saying. Just because it's the best doesn't mean that's going to be your most optimal thing to do.
Yeah,
you might not be able to perform it in the same way or whatever.
Yeah. But Zatar, what are you most excited about for Wrath?
So number one by far is flexible compositions.
Hell yeah!
Not even close.
Yeah.
TBC,
not dual spec.
Nah, not as much as these. I guess the main thing is just it's like dual spec. I'm not losing sleep over dual spec in TBC.
I've been losing sleep since Classic Open for dual spec.
Yeah, well, I'm not. But yeah, for TBC raid comms, I like my life was actually like significantly worse than it could have been if I had a more flexible raid comp. Like, it's
and people bitching about getting multiple. They're like, dude, can I get Wind Fury? Like, what the fuck, dude?
I don't like shamans actually. Yeah, I actually tell every shaman that wants to apply that I don't like totems.
Dude,
I have not been looking for a shaman. Yeah.
Okay, so
give me more to work with.
Prior to TBC, I got kicked out of the content creators Discord, like the one that's actually Blizzard controlled. I got kicked out because I fought so hard to be like, we need to lock groups in so that you can't rotate shambies to different groups before TBC because it's going to be toxic and it's going to just make everything bad. And like, there was this one CM that like, luckily he doesn't work for Blizzard anymore, but I hated this guy. Like, he was like, well, that's the way it was back in TBC. And I was like, dude, you guys just said hashtag some changes. Why are you like not even considering my change? And I stand by, I was right. Like, we shouldn't have been able to flop shammies. It would have made the game parsing a lot better. But yeah, sorry, I just got off on a tangent there.
It also would have saved my healer frames. Let's be honest.
But yeah, there's only a few different things like tricks of the trade, hysteria, and different things that could like really pump in Wrath, and that is exciting, right?
Yeah.
But I guess the second thing, so that was the big one, the party buffs, the flexibility. The second thing
is hold on, Zatar.
Yep.
I want to tell you something else that you might not know.
What do I not know? I'm looking forward to it.
So, do you know the Warcraft logs plan for things like hysteria and tricks of the trade?
Are they going to try and undo it or calculate the damage difference and take it away?
They're going to put it on the giver.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Calculate the damage gain and put it on the person.
Yep. So if you give tricks, you should probably give tricks to the person that you think is going to pump the most.
That's pretty cool.
It is going to be separated as like I forget what the terms are, raw and
adjusted or something.
Indirect or something.
But it's the same. The guys that run Warcraft logs play Final Fantasy, and I guess that's how they handle it in Final Fantasy, and supposedly they're going to do it for Wrath, which is going to be awesome because it doesn't matter if you tricks one guy, throughout your entire raid, which has been the fear. Like now it's just going to go back to the person that tricks them.
And what's cool is like, because they have to calculate that's not something obvious. There's nothing in the combat log that says added tricks damage. They have to go through and say, for this time period, take the percentage off what it was. That would make it potentially possible for them to calculate utility added from each class in terms of what they provide to the raid.
Yep.
So if they decide to go
kind
down
of like
that route,
shield, like pre-shield, like I get damage absorbed in my combat log, right? Versus damage shield.
But I think
kind
if
of
they,
similar.
if they did something like a damage gain, that would actually be able to inform you, okay, what is a boomkin actually? What is this 5% crit in actuality? What is it doing? Because then you might actually see by the end of it, like, oh, wow, we were underestimating, this buff or something.
Okay, well, hold on. You're going way over.
Yeah.
That would be awesome though, too.
That's my idea of what they could do, because it should be the same tech. That's not what they're doing, but that's what they could do, to be clear.
They're basically singling out the things that you can like just basically pump on to other people. Yep. Like, so
what about power infusion? Priests get the damage from power infusion?
I have not heard I've not heard anything about power infusion, but like
maybe they won't because it's not a percentage damage. Maybe they're keeping it very basic because technically power infusion is not.
That sounds about right. Yeah,
it's casting speed and mana cost, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
I guess with tricks you can just make it easy.
The only thing I've heard so far is tricks and hysteria. So like I don't want to like pump everybody up, but like it could be a really cool thing to like stop degenerate parsing behavior.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah.
All right. Sorry to cut you off about what you're excited about, but I thought you might be excited about that.
Oh yeah. If anyone raid leading is going to be excited about something that might trick their players into playing correctly, that's always cool. But second thing I'm excited for is 10-mans. I think that I know a lot of people are like, 40-man raid, classic, time of my life. I actually like smaller raids. I feel like the people more. I feel like in a 10-man raid, you're significantly more important too. You're 1/10 of the group as a healer, right? If you are not healing in even a pretty easy boss, you might wipe in a 10-man. If you run 6 healers or 7 healers in a 25-man, like some guilds run 5 healers. You could actually have 2 people not casting in a 7 healing guild on some bosses. It's fine. So I like 10-mans a lot. I think it's going to feel cool to have like real raids be 10-mans instead of like, the intro raid or the catch-up raid.
I agree with that,
Yeah, it's not as toxic as Kara because you have Nax 10 and Nax 25, whereas in Kara, it's like, oh shit, we just came in here. Wait, I'm not in the 2 Kara groups that we were able to form this week? What?
Yeah.
Like,
you had to go from 40 to 10.
Yeah.
You went from 40 to 10.
So bad. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm extremely excited about that too.
Yeah, it's gonna be so nice.
What are some of your fears?
I'm very concerned about theory crafting, and this is a selfish concern, my personal enjoyment of theory crafting, because I do not think threat is going to be a significant single target issue for a lot of tanks. Like maybe something like
it depends on how many rogues you have. We just make your life easier.
Yeah, well, and even, like you still have hunter misdirect and stuff, but like let's say there's a decent chance I play a blood death knight, especially later on, because I'm definitely going to play a warrior. I just might play my warrior in 10-mans, because that's where they kind of go off in damage. But
I could be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure hunter misdirect pales in comparison to tricks.
What is it? DPS increase, right?
Like
the reason I say
as a combat rogue, I'm gonna hit tricks on the tank first, and my first move is going to be Kasemo, help me.
Killing spree?
Yep. And basically, you're going to be so far up in thread at that point that, like, you can just, like, you can just choose what you want to do from that point. And that's if it's just me. If, like, you have 3 rogues doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, misdirect does get buffed so that it's more than just like the first 3 hits. So misdirect is better. But the reason I say misdirect instead of tricks is because, again, what you're saying is the right way to play. Play it safe, tricks the tank. That is not what anyone is going to hear on any YouTube video. That is not what anyone wants to do. They're going to have first tricks on DPS at the start of the fight. And then the tank is going to try and hold that.
And I mean, I'm going to do that later, but the beauty of tricks as opposed to misdirect is that tricks like gives a damage buff to whoever I do it to, but I can always take their threat count off. So I could always kill that part of the buff.
Yeah.
So it's like, later on, if a tank is amazing, like I won't do it, but like usually I would always do it just to make the fight like easier for the tank, you know. So it just depends on your tank and like what they want, basically.
I'm only tricks and healers, dude. That's it. Only healers. Good luck.
Yes.
But my main concern there is
yes.
If it's too simple, I think it might end up being that itemization is too simple. For example, like for a tank, and tanks are really the class that has the most interesting itemization. Like right now in TBC, for example, there's no boss fight where I wouldn't want more threat. There's no boss fight where I wouldn't want more survivability. It's kind of at a point where like I can die on Felmist, I can die on Caligos and Rage, I can die like at this point in Sunwell, I can die to literally everything. And in the previous phases, you wanted as much threat as possible without getting one shot. So I feel like at every point, it's been like really important, the individual gearing decisions that I can make with like a warrior. And that's why I said it's my favorite spec, theorycraft wise, of all time. I think it's going to be quite the drop off going into Wrath, where it's going to be like a lot of tanks just are full mitigation with potentially hit expertise and stuff. But I think, especially like if I end up playing Death Knight, their threat is so strong. I am concerned that I might not have, and again, we'll just have to see, but I might not have any decisions to make gearing wise except full mitigation. But
yeah, I can see that.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not positive about that, but
you don't know till the numbers are there. You can run them, look at them, look at logs.
See when it gets here.
Yeah, I really wish we had your brother on because he was our main tank throughout the start of Wrath. He's still doing mythic raiding. Would have been good to hear his thoughts. Maybe we'll get him later. All right, so plans for mains. You dropping warrior? You keeping your guild going?
The guild will continue. In terms of what I will main, I'm going to play a tank again. I'd say at this point, it's pretty likely that I'll play Death Knight because I think it will be. I could definitely play warrior. I'm considering playing warrior. I think Death Knight is going to be something more fresh, something more interesting. Might be more fun, but
I've heard it's definitely fun.
But it's not even that I'm like obsessed with the idea of playing a Death Knight or anything like that. I actually didn't originally like Death Knights very much. It's more of like something new. Like I really liked not playing Rogue in TBC because I played it all of Classic and I just wanted something new. I'm the kind of person that wants something new and not the ride or die with the spec for like 3 expansions. It's just kind of, I just get bored of it.
Yeah. You're like Bob. Bob changes every expansion.
Yep, I got you. I mean, like, dude, I played vanilla Classic. Like when I say Classic vanilla, it means like the new Classic. I played
just like Classic.
I played Warrior. I'd never played Warrior. I was a rogue in original vanilla, and I played Warrior, and it was fun to learn it. It was. Once I learned it, it was awesome, and then I played Lock and TBC, and learned that I freaking hate lock, and I hate blue bars, red and yellow for life. But now I'm going back to my roots when I played the entirety of the retail vanilla TBC and Wrath, and I'm going back to Rogue, and I'm excited for it.
All right, let's move on and get to his add-on of the week so that we can get out of here.
Yes, let's move on to...
Exciting.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our add-on of the week.
We haven't gotten to use that bumper for a long time. Tell us about your add-on, and I'm excited because I plan to possibly main tank our second raid as a warrior in Wrath.
It was Plater, if you don't remember.
Yeah, so Plater is the name of it. Essentially, the important part of Plater for most people that just install it out of the box, the add-on is going to tell you when, and then some other nameplates do this, but it's going to tell you when you are, so it tells you what you have threat of as a tank, and it color codes it. So if I'm tanking, it's going to have everything on my screen purple bars. Purple means I have threat. If it goes yellow, that means I'm starting to lose threat. So I can actually tab target to the target, start rebuilding threat before I even lose it. And I have, color coded like what I need to hit as a tank. And then if you lose threat of it, it goes red. So it is very, and it also, there's a color for an off tank has it. So when I am in a raid, no matter the situation, I know there's a mob free hitting someone. I know it's heading there before it's even started moving because it's red. Its highest threat target is a DPS. And it's like life changing if you don't have at least a comparable add-on that color codes things. And it's good for DPS too, because it tells you when you're pulling threat. So if you are about to pull threat on a target, it starts highlighting the color and says like, whoa, you're about to pull threat. You can either switch targets, vanish, do something. But it's like a built-in threat meter that you don't have to manually check. It like color codes and like you can react to it. So it's very, very nice.
I have threat plates, which does something similar.
Yes. Now, the only difference would be that Plater is works really well with WeakAuras. So I actually, in TBC, I have a WeakAura that tells me the exact threat amount I have on every target in a pack. So when the color coding isn't enough, like sometimes I'm like, okay, I have 20,000 threat on that mob way over there, 20,000 threat lead. But this guy's at 4,000. It tells me who to hit even before the DPS are getting close to pulling something. There's a lot of things you can do with it too. But yeah, it's not... I like it too because it does like everything I want. It also shows you debuffs on the target as well. But yeah, it definitely could use a different nameplate. But I personally think that it is you need something.
Your favorite?
Okay, so
it's my favorite. You need something like it.
Okay,
probably the best one out there. You're not gonna lie.
So threat plates changes the enemy nameplates to something that's discernible too. Like it changes it from the little thin bar crap to like actually their bars and casting bars. Like does Plater do the same thing?
Plater does cast bars as well. Plater also tells you like who kicked a target and stuff. It's
threat plates does that too.
So they're very similar. The only thing that, and it's kind of just like, I guess the one edge that people always cite, not just me that use Plater, is just it works really well with WeakAuras. So even
which is huge.
Even in Classic, when everyone had to install an add-on called Enemy Aura Durations or whatever.
Yep.
If you ran Plater, you could get a WeakAura that did that for you, and it just looked really clean on the nameplate. And I'm sure there's lots of examples. I haven't messed with it too much, but Plater has a horrible UI, but it's like for the settings, but there's a lot of customization. So I can make like the debuffs exactly how I like them to look. They even added a new feature that I haven't tested, but it sounds really cool. It's called Phantom Auras, and it tells you when a debuff is missing on a target. So without even having to learn WeakAuras or copy a bunch of WeakAuras from a class Discord, you could play Shadow Priest, and every time you click on an enemy, it could give you a little gray square that's like, hey, your Shadow Repain's missing. Something like that.
That's cool.
But
nice.
Yeah, your threat place is certainly fine too. It's just Plater is my preference. And yeah, so you need something like that. If you don't have something like that, you're in a world of hurt.
Right,
yeah,
cool.
right.
Actually, yeah.
Everything. Healers, you can tell if you're about to pull threat, if something's running at you. There's a huge difference between just randomly dying or getting shadow bolted without knowing it versus like, oh, I had threat of this target before it even started casting. I can see it slowly casting. I know I'm going to get shadow bolted. It just gives you a lot.
Listen,
more time
Zatar.
That's actually huge.
Some of us aren't that good, and we have threat plates, and we're still just looking at our raid frames, and all of a sudden just die.
Mel, you're talking about healers.
Sounds like a tank issue.
Agreed. Thank you.
You shouldn't have to worry about things running at you, but sometimes you can make a hero play if you want. It's
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we have had a banger of an episode. We're going to start closing out. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at WC Reloaded. You can follow the Mash Those Buttons Network at the Mash Network. If you want to send us an email, you can do so by sending it to wcrpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to send us a irate or happy voicemail, you can do so by dialing 816-866-1066. If you'd like to join our Discord and interact with the host of this show or any show on the MASH network, you can do so by going to mash.gg/Discord. How can you help the podcast? You can do so by leaving us iTunes reviews, Spotify stars, warcraftradio.com, reviews. Warcraftradio.com just went through a huge site rework, so definitely check that out. They will get you set up with whatever podcast you want from the Blizzard family.
It's no longer warcraftradio.com/directory either. It's just warcraftradio.com.
Yeah, I didn't say the /directory.
I know. I was just mentioning it for people that had.
And then, our Patreon, we're going to be changing it at the top of the month, but for right now, you could still sign up. If the per episode thing freaks you out, just to let you know, if you sign up, you can set a monthly cap of what you can be charged. So don't be scared. We're going to charge like 7 episodes in a month. We only charge like 1 episode a month, but we're going to change it to monthly. But if you want to charge, if you want to join now, you can, and you'll still be there when we move to the new change format. All right. Mel, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at MelOverwatch, or you can find me more likely in game on Mel Arena on Benediction. That's all.
Yeah, and she says she raid logs, so can you really find her in game? I don't know. But
you never know.
Kasemo, you have your chance here. Sell your new Twitch. It is brand new. He has 25 subs. He needs your subs. Sell it, Kasemo.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I just recently started streaming a little bit more with Wrath Beta, some PvP and stuff, multi-classing, mainly Rogue, doing all kinds of stuff like that, just trying to stay active and test out Wrath Beta, and then, obviously just get ready for Wrath with PvP and TBC and a little rating too with Bob and whatnot. That's going to be at twitch.tv/Kasemo, my name with an X at the end. Just because Kasemo was taken by me, I can't get the account back, but Kasemox is going to be the actual account that's going to be streamed at. Been working on that, and then also as I'm doing that, I'm going to be working on making videos for YouTube as well, making some content, like kind of getting questions and then kind of sitting down and answering them and figuring out what people kind of need to know or want to know more about and help the community out as far as like any questions about anything RAF related or TBC related still until it lasts. And I'll be making that and answering that and doing some videos here on YouTube soon. That's going to be at youtube.com/Kasemo. That's my actual name, no X. And then as far as that, anything else, just you can find me in game, Benediction, Alliance, over in Bob's Guild and Varg. On a Kasemo, that's my rogue. So
awesome. And you could, you could also see him quite often on my stream too. But definitely, please go and give him a follow. He's just starting out. He needs your help, and we will
definitely appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, Zatar, where can we find you? Plug it all.
Yeah, just two. I keep it simple. 2 places. Twitch, Zatar_wow. Stream pretty much every day. So drop by. Evenings in North America, pretty much. And then, YouTube, Zatar. Just can type in Zatar space wow in YouTube. You'll find me. That's pretty much it.
Nice. And that is Zatar for anybody who doesn't know how to spell Zatar, because I didn't. All right. And you can find me on Twitter at blazin_Bob. That's BLAZZIN_BOB. You can also find me on Twitch streaming quite often now and streaming the show and streaming our raids Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's twitch.tv/BlazinBob. No space. All right, guys. It's been a banger of an episode. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much for checking out Warcraft Reloaded podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss any future content.